all divine routes. Listen to the whispers, no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Study the book, change perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. Bethlehem birth to cross on the hill. Unfolding the nappy blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message, flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap, changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message, flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap, changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings.
Was it that simple? Was that what I did? Yeah. Ah. So I needed to record a backup copy of something going on yesterday, so I ran it through Slobs and recorded it. And now I see I'm frozen on mine. There we go. So welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. We'll try that again. There we go. Welcome in. Good to have you here. So this is why you always have the earbud in. So you can check and see what's going on. I know some streamers full on have the earphones and all of that. What I need is, well, earphones, but these are bone conductivity. I don't know that works real well. I've done it before when I've streamed in the kitchen, so I could listen. But that's what I need. Is I need a wraparound from behind headset to listen to what's going on. But I'm not so keen on listening to my own voice through my speakers. So I'd have to figure out how to listen to everything else except my own voice coming back in, but then I wouldn't know if it was working or not. I don't know. All those things that you go, I could upgrade this. What would it look like? And how could I make it better? And then you go, I just don't have the time. Just don't have the time to do all of that. Oh my goodness, this week has blown by so quickly. I do not know how it's Friday. Like the last week of my life has disappeared with amazing speed. Yeah, and not bad, just fast. All right, so welcome in, everyone. I did change the angle of the camera just a little bit. I hope that's okay. You can see I elevated the poster just a bit behind me. I got to figure out if there's a better way to display it. I kind of really like that sitting there. I do. Oh, by the way, I've got info. Like, if you like the poster here, they're going to be made available. They're not going to be cheap, but they're going to be made available that you could buy mine or other streamers who were at ReachCon. So, Alan Theus, welcome in. Glad to have you here, friend. So, you know what I want to do this morning? Let's just start out with feeding the fish. This morning.
Flat cap pastor rocks his tweet, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from here.
You didn't notice the camera angle change? Well, it's I only moved it about 3-4 inches away just to slightly change the angle of it, so it's not drastic change. Tried to move it a little further and I didn't like it, so like it's gonna go about 6-8 inches, and now I'm off center. That's all. The angle is off centered rather than straight on.
Flat cap pastor shows the way. Stream it live, come watch.
So I sometimes tend to lean over this way, and I try to put it so when I'm looking at the text over here, hopefully my eyes, instead of here. So like I said, that's not much. It's not much of a change. I still need to get a boom on this so that I can have the microphone a little bit closer. I do not have a boom. It's just sitting on the table. Hello! Hey! Welcome in, friend. I am doing well. You know what? I don't know if you saw or heard. I had a fall and I'm recovering. So I'm doing well. No pain. Healing good. I should get the stitches out today, but all good. Galaxy used to have a goldfish named Oreo for 10 years till he passed away. That's a decent length of time for an indoor fish. They can live a lot longer, seemingly, when they're outside versus inside. It's just more natural, cleaner water, those kinds of things. So, but how are you doing, Daniel? How are you doing, my friend? You think you saw that? I'm terribly sorry, dear pastor. I hope you recover. I feel like God was protecting me when I had that fall. Because I could still be in the hospital. I could be in the ICU from the potential of all the stuff that was at the base of that fall. So, and no like discomfort, but not pain. You know, just like, oh, I brushed it against something and you feel, oh, don't do that, you know. Or, you know, I'm resting my arm on it and but it's doing well. You have a bit of stomach distress yesterday. I also had it, and mental exhaustion. I'm sorry, friend. Sorry for the mental exhaustion and the stomach distress. Um, you should be coming out of the heat of summer though, so that should be a blessing. All right. So where we are in 2 Chronicles 33. 2 Chronicles 33. And it goes through 36. I got a good feeling we could finish Chronicles today. I got a good feeling on that. I wish God could give my life less woes. I always struggle with that kind of, and I'm not picking on you, but just the whole kind of thing. Like for instance, I don't feel like God did this to me. I feel like God protected me from it being worse. And I know that that's a hard thing to know. Could it have been worse? Has God been protecting me from more things? And even though I have a lot of things, it could be worse. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. We live in a world filled with evil, filled with awful things, filled with whatever around us. And so I take the good with the bad, and I try to trust and rely on God through it all. So when it's good, I praise Him that it's good. When it's bad, I praise Him that it's not worse. But I know that that's not the same attitude that everyone has, and I don't say that to deny. Like, no, this is pretty serious. I'm not denying that, but I understand the reality of the danger that it could have been. I could have broken my back if I'd have landed on the log with my back. Could have, I don't know, snapped my neck, fallen from 10 feet if I'd have landed on my neck. I could have been impaled on a bunch of stuff that was there. But like I said, when I say that, I don't ever want to say I'm diminishing what's going on in your life because it could be worse. It's all just going, I appreciate what I have. And yeah, the struggles of life are real. Like not having an income right now, that's a super struggle. I have this nice yellow. I'm trying to think if I could show it to you or not without doxing myself. I'll fold it inside out. There we go. I have this nice yellow bill that is my taxes that is due today. I don't have the money to pay it. I do not have the money to pay it. This tax bill is due today. I've known about it for months. The problem is I've had no income. I've not been working. So what do I do about it? I will go down there and, well, I'll borrow the money to pay it because if I don't pay it, it will accumulate other interest and fines and fees. And so I'm just trusting it'll get taken care of at some point. And what I got to do right now is go in that direction and wait and see. So, yeah, like I said, just because I can be looking in one area of life and feel like I'm being blessed, I can look at another area of life and feel like I'm not. I can look at where my kids are in relationship there. I can look at my parents. I can look at their health. And I can go, oh, it's awful. It's horrible. So I don't want to deny the truth of those things. So when I try to focus on the positive, it's just who I am. That's just the way I look at things. And I hope that encourages other people. This is a good approach also, but like I wish a former friend, and yes, totally. I've got friends I wish I could reconcile relationships that could do. Yeah, wish my mind was less exhausted and depressed. Still grateful to have God that loves. Yeah. And like I said, when I say those things, I just want to make sure no one feels like I'm diminishing the bad stuff. Because it's still there. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. All the problems of life don't go away just because you have a pleasant attitude or a pleasant view of them. They're still there. They're still real. We still live in a fallen world. We still need friends. We still need love. And I hope, this is my hope always, that having an encounter with one another here in the stream will bless your day and you'll go away encouraged and built up, even if just a little bit, even if it just makes your day just a little bit better for just a little while, I think it's worth it. So, Ellen, God wouldn't give us trials that we had no chance to overcome, right? Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's true. If it is a trial from God, it talks about there that He does provide a way through or a way out. But I would not say everything that happens in life is because of God. I think that's a too narrow of a thought. It also then makes God, like, let's just pick on something really horrible like the Holocaust and say, well, God permitted it. That's a horrible way to think about it. It was not God's plan for the Holocaust to happen. It was not God's wish that the Holocaust would happen. God did not endorse the Holocaust from happening. The evil in men's hearts brought upon about the Holocaust. Their greed, their power, whatever it was they were striving after, their treatment of other people was based on what was in their heart, not based on God's permission or will. Hey, Donut Christian, welcome in. So, but welcome in everybody who's here. Glad to have you here. I love hanging out. I love being in stream. I love being in God's Word. And I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me today. Whether you're here live, whether you're lurking, whether you're in the chat, whether you're watching the VOD. I hope that this is a blessing to you, at least for as long as you're able to stay. And when you leave, that you're blessed by it. So, all right. So where we have been is in 2 Chronicles. If you don't know 2 Chronicles is, well, I should say 1st and 2nd. Originally it was one book. So Chronicles is a spiritual assessment of the people of God. And we've been going through a bunch of kings recently, and we had kings that collaborated with the northern kingdom. So mostly it's the southern kingdom of Judah. We've had kings in the southern kings who collaborated and went to war with the northern kingdom, did not consult God when they went to go do that. And then they had bad things happen to them. God was judging them for collaborating with the northern kingdom, who was totally evil, always evil, evil all the time. And now we've had a couple of kings who have been really, really good. They've followed after God, and then they get to the end of life, and then they just fall flat on their face, and they mess up. They totally blow it. They kind of decide, I've done a good enough job up to this point. I can do it no longer. I don't think that's how they thought of it, but that's kind of what happens. So, sorry, just checking at my messages. Okay, nothing important there. Just seeing if there was. So, all right, so let's get into our text this morning. So, 2 Chronicles 33. And we should be able to finish Chronicles today. I'm super psyched about that. We're still way behind, but that's how I roll. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. He did evil in the sight of the Lord and committed the same horrible sin practiced by the nations whom the Lord drove out ahead of Israel. He built the high places that his father Hezekiah had destroyed. He set up the altars for the Baals and made Asherah poles. He bowed down to all the stars in the sky and worshipped them. He built altars in the Lord's temple, about which the Lord had said, Jerusalem will be my permanent home. In the 2 courtyards of the Lord's temple, he built altars to all the stars in the sky. Okay, it's going to keep going on what was going on and what he did. Yeah, why so many Israelite kings are so wicked? I'm gonna just say power and wealth. I would say listening to bad advice, letting it go to their head on some level. I'm not entirely sure. But what's really interesting is his father, King Hezekiah, got a message that he was going to die. He prayed to God that he wouldn't die. God showed favor on him. He did not die. In that amount of lifetime, after that occasion, is when this son was born. So had King Hezekiah died, as God told him he was going to begin with, Manasseh isn't king, because Manasseh's not born then. So I don't know how to judge that. I just like to point it out and go, that's an interesting fact. And then King Hezekiah, at the end of his reign, even though he was so good at the beginning, kind of stumbles at the end. And his son, I think, is a carrying on of that stumbling. So, he passed his sons through the fire in the valley of Ben Hinnom and practiced divination, omen reading, and sorcery. Okay, so like this is the list of you don't want to be doing it. You are passing your son through the fire. Let's see what the footnote says. Or he sacrificed his son in fire. This may be a reference to child sacrifice, though some interpret it as a less drastic cult practice. So, sacrificed his child in the fire, made his sons pass through the fire. So, not clear on exactly what this was. We know of different practices, so it could be that you've probably seen or heard where there was an idol and you would put your children in the hands of the idol that was, on fire essentially, and the children would scald. That's what a lot of people envision, but it could have just also been a passing through the fire ceremony, a different kind. It's not clear what it was, but he practiced divination, omen reading, and sorcery. On top of that, like these are all cult practices that we're told not to do, not because they don't work, but because they are not of God. He set up a ritual pit to conjure up underworld spirits and appointed magicians to supervise it. So he's got a ritual pit. Like, this is where he believes the underworld has access. And he's going to get access to the underworld to speak with those powers that be. He did a great amount of evil in the sight of the Lord and angered him. He put an idolatrous image he had made in God's temple, about which God had said to David and his son Solomon, "This temple in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will be my permanent home." So his father did this whole cleansing. Took 16 days to cleanse the temple from all the evil things and the idols that were in there, and to restore it to proper prominence before God, because grandfather had closed the whole system down and shut it down. They did Passover for the first time in who knows how long. And son is going back the opposite way. "I will not make Israel again leave the land I gave to their ancestors, provided that they carefully obey all I command them, the whole law, the rules and regulations given through Moses." So, like, provided, there is a clause, like, you will not leave the land if not, you will always get it no matter what you do. Which, by the way, is a problem that people have an attitude for today. That I'm not picking on anything going on currently politically. I'm saying this has been the thing since the 1960s. Doesn't matter what Israel did. Israel's supposed to be in the land because Israel is God's chosen. No, go back to the Old Testament. Israel gets to remain in the land if they're following after God, if they're doing the things that God told them to do. So it's conditional. It's a conditional covenant, not you gave it to us, and now we're going to abuse it. Too bad. Ownership is ours. No, they are the landlords, the stewards of God's land. So we need to have treatment and foreign policies in line with any other country from that standpoint of, if atrocities are happening in your country, we should call you out on atrocities. Not more than that, we should do what we can to bring you to do things that are more humane. Not even talking about righteous or unrighteous. I'm just saying on a basic level. All right. But Manasseh misled the people of Judah and the residents of Jerusalem, so that they sinned more than the nations whom the Lord had destroyed ahead of the Israelites. So this is even going back all the way to the people cast out of the land. Not the surrounding nations now, but the people they cast out. Yeah, interesting approach. You haven't thought of that before? Yeah. I mean, there's a whole line of Christians that think it doesn't matter what Israel ever does because they're God's chosen in the land. No, they got chased out of the land because they kept sinning and doing wrong towards their neighbors, towards those in the country, so why should it be different now that they get a pass on any decision they make? It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think the Bible backs it up. But they will take a view that says Israel has to be in the land for Armageddon to happen. So, and then God says He'll punish all those people who don't bless Israel. So we have to take that approach to everything. Supersonic Mockingjay, Cat Jam. No, say more. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Oh, welcome in though, friend. Okay. The Lord confronted Manasseh and his people, but they paid no attention. So this is going to be a different way of saying He probably sent prophets to them. So the Lord brought against them the commanders of the armies of the king of Assyria. They seized Manasseh, put hooks in his nose, bound him with bronze chains, and carried him away to Babylon. Okay, what's the footnote on the hooks in his nose? And seized him with hooks. Okay. And normally the reference there would be animals by which you lead them around with a hook in their nose. Which just thinking logically, this is nothing against somebody who has piercings in their nose. But, like, if you know you can be led around, and bulls are led around by a hook in their nose, this is certainly way overkill. But, you know, if I've got a hook on my nose, and just, like, I get in a fight, or you could grab that and jerk it and lead me somewhere, it just doesn't seem like a good plan. I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm just talking about what could be done wrong in place of that. Well, here the king is, put a hook in his nose and guide him around. That doesn't sound pleasant. In his pain, Manasseh asked the Lord, his God, for mercy, and truly humbled himself before the God of his ancestors. When he prayed to the Lord responded to him and answered favorably his cry for mercy. The Lord brought him back to Jerusalem, to his kingdom. Then Manasseh realized that the Lord is the true God. Wow, I don't remember him realizing that. Let's see what it is. He prayed to the Lord. Is this a cry to the Lord? I want to say it's a he cried to the Lord. Him referent, the Lord has been supplied. Okay, so no. I'm going to go look up if that's prayed or cried. And the reason I want to do that is there is a cry that goes up of the poor and the oppressed that does not have to do with any relationship with God. It is simply a cry of those who are oppressed that God does hear. So I want to go see, is it that? So 2 Chronicles 33. And what verse we in? We are in verse 12. Verse 12. No, 13. 13, when he prayed. And prayed. Palal. Palal. What is Palal?
Strong's H, 6419. Palal.
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 To intervene, interpose, to pray, to meditate, to judge, to intercede, to pray. Okay, so this one is straight up is prayer, not just a cry. So he knows who he's praying to, which I just want to check that when it was talking about him humbling himself, if that really was leading to prayer. And yeah, he knew who his dad served, and he just abandoned it. Like, I'm gonna do it better. I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't care. That's restrictive. I'm gonna throw that off and do what I want. Didn't work out. So he's led away. Well, you know, when you hit rock bottom, sometimes you realize you need God. So after this, Manasseh built up the outer wall of the city of David on the west side of the Gihon in the valley to the entrance of the fish gate. And all around the terrace, he made it much higher. He placed army officers in all the fortified cities in Judah. He removed the foreign gods and images from the Lord's temple and all the altars he had built on the hill of the Lord's temple and in Jerusalem. He threw them outside the city. He erected the altar of the Lord and offered on it peace offerings and thank offerings. He told the people of Judah to serve the Lord God of Israel. However, the people continued to offer sacrifices at the high places, but only to the Lord their God. So he couldn't get them to give up the practice of going to the high places, but they're now worshiping God in those places instead of in the temple. Why would they do that? Because it's closer and easier than going all the way to the temple in Jerusalem. Would be part of that. It seems less intrusive to all that you have to do to follow all the stuff. Might be part of it. The rest of the events of Manasseh's reign, including his prayer to his God and the words of the prophet spoken to him in the name of the Lord of Israel, are recorded in the annals of the kings of Israel, the annals of the prophets, including his prayer, given an account of how the Lord responded to him, recorded all his sins and unfaithful acts, and identified the sites where he had high places and erected Asherah poles and idols before he humbled himself. Manasseh passed away and was buried in his place. His son Amon replaced him as king. So interesting, like they're just going through Manasseh, who was a super evil, wicked king to start with, but he finishes well. So they just kind of give an overview. He did a whole bunch of heinous stuff, and he had a comeuppance, and he realized what he had done wrong, and he said, I'm changing my life. I'm turning it around. And he finished well. So this is the opposite of what we've been having. We've been having kings who start out well and they finish poorly. And this guy starts out bad and he finishes well. But the people didn't fully get back on board. Amon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 2 years in Jerusalem. Now, as soon as you hear a really short span of ruling, you know the guy's probably not very good. He's not good in the sight of God. He's probably doing evil. The people probably don't like him. So let's see what happens. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, just as his father Manasseh had done. Amon offered sacrifices to all the idols his father Manasseh had made and worshipped them. He did not humble himself before the Lord as his father Manasseh had done. Amon was guilty of great sin. What's the footnote there? Multiplied guilt. Okay. So guilty, he's multiplying the guilt. Like you're adding to, you're adding on top of. So, like for instance, I keep trying to multiply stickers on my mugs here. I keep multiplying stickers. I still have a little space. Just a little space left, but otherwise my stickers are multiplying here. So he's multiplying sin in, like, you're not just adding to it. You're causing people to do more and more than they've done before. His servants conspired against him and killed him in his palace. So I know we've had at least one other king in Judah. Judah's the southern kingdom, Israel's the north. One other king in Judah that we had two of the servants conspire against him. Later, the son killed them who had conspired, and let's see if it tells us more about his servants. The people of the land executed all who had conspired against King Amon, and they made his son Josiah king in his place. Okay, so here we have servants conspire against the king, and immediately the people are like, no, you killed the king. It don't matter if he's the worst ever. We don't do that. So they kill him. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 41 years in Jerusalem. This is one of the kings that I think you, as a kid, you remember an 8-year-old being king, and you're like, I could do that. Like, why don't I get to be king? I'm 8 years old. You should make me king. Like, I would be a great king. I don't know. 8-year-olds as kings, I'm not thinking that's a great plan. I don't even want teenagers or 20-year-olds as king. I'm just saying, I don't want somebody ruling the land who hasn't been around for 30 years at least, And honestly, this is my bias. I don't want somebody who's a ruler of a country who doesn't have kids. Not because I think kids are all that. I just think that once you have kids, your life experience and perspective changes in a different way. I'm fine with people who do not ever have kids, who never marry, are celibate or single. I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying. I just think when you have a child, it changes your perspective on your community and your family. So my bias is that. I know it's a bias. If it happens that they're not, and it doesn't mean that they're always better, I'm only saying I think it adds to your perspective, and that's what I'm interested in, is having a larger perspective on the world. An 8-year-old doesn't have a perspective on the world. Just does not. Okay. He did what the Lord approved and followed in his ancestor David's footsteps. He did not deviate to the right or to the left. What a great way to talk about it. Not going to the right or left. That meant he followed, I know we'll call it the straight and narrow, but he followed the path. He followed after David. He walked in the footsteps of. So if I say that, you know exactly who that is. I could pick on certain people. I'll just use Lincoln, because Lincoln is known for being Honest Abe. So if I said somebody followed in the footsteps of Honest Abe, you would go, oh, they're a very honest person. They're very trustworthy. And if you know, I don't know that the story's true. I kind of think it's not. He was working at some store and somebody gave him the wrong amount. He shortchanged him and he walked, 10 miles or whatever the story is, to return 11 cents to the guy. Like, would have been a lot more then, but even that, like, wait for the guy to come in next time, keep it on credit for him. Let him know then. You go through all that effort to bring it to him. I don't know. Alan, finished breakfast and off to work. God bless you, and praying your finances get solved. Thank you. Thank you very much. Somewhat, Alan, it's a matter of right now, like I still have a prayer booth down in the marketplace, but I'm no longer there on Sunday. So it's trying to decide and determine, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go apply to a physical church to be a full-time pastor? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I still need to have the prayer booth and set that up next year, and then maybe expand it. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do for income. So, Martyr Luther King. Ooh, how's it going, everyone? Welcome in. Welcome in. We're in 2 Chronicles 34. We're just reading about one of the youngest kings. I think there was a 6-year-old that was king. Here we have, I think Josiah's more well-known. He's 8 years old. In the 8th year of his reign, so he's now 16. He's 16. He's been reigning. That's just such a funny word. He's been reigning. My brain always thinks reign, not rule. While he was still young, he began to seek the God of his ancestor, David. In the 12th year, he began ridding Judah and Jerusalem of the high places. So in his 12th year. So in the 8th year of his reign, he's 8, he's 16. In the 12th year, so that's 4 more years. So when he's 20, so now that he's actually matured, he could join the army. Notice, this is some good wisdom. He does not go about, when he's young, getting rid of all of the high places, but he begins studying about God's word and what to do, and probably is making plans. And so now that he's 20, he goes around to Jerusalem, ridding them of the high places, Asherah poles, idols, and images. He ordered the altars of Baal to be torn down and broke the incense altars that were above them. He smashed the Asherah poles, idols, and images, crushed them, and sprinkled their dust over the tombs of those who sacrificed to them. Okay, that's a fascinating thing. Sprinkling the dust. I wish there was a footnote here. Sprinkling the dust. So we've got references to dust of things at times. And Gehazi, if you remember, when he came from Assyria and he came to the land and he was washed, he had leprosy. No, sorry, it was Naaman. Gehazi was the servant who sinned. When Naaman did that, he wanted dirt to go back so he could be on the land to worship God, because gods are thought to have the power over the land, which is also why in the New Testament you're to shake the dust off of your feet when you leave a town that does not want to listen or come to God, because that dust is the dust of another God's reign and realm. So here, taking all of the dust and the ashes, and where are you putting them? You're putting them over the tombs. The tombs are unclean. So the unclean idols, the unclean dust is put over the unclean realm of the unclean people in the unclean underworld. That's how I'm seeing that. But also think about this, like, your God that you worshipped is now pulverized and residing on your tomb. What's that God going to do for you in the afterlife? Like nothing, because they're pulverized, and you're dust and ashes, and so's your idol of your God, dust and ashes, and you're right next to each other. You're got close to your God after all. I mean, that to me is super insulting. I don't know. Maybe it's not as insulting to others, but he burned the bones of the pagan priest on their altars. What is this? The priest, the qualifying adjective pagan has been supplied for the translation. Oh, okay. The bones of the priest on the altar. So the bones of the priest are burned on the altar. So you are again making these an unclean place. They are there. Yeah. He purified Judah and Jerusalem in the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, and Simeon, as far as Naphtali and its ruins around them. He tore down the altars and the Asherah poles, demolished the idols, and smashed all the incense altars throughout the land of Israel. Then he returned to Jerusalem. So he is going to Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, and Naphtali and its ruins. In their ruins is a marginal reading of the Hebrew text. Okay. So he doesn't just settle for doing this in the southern kingdom where he reigns. He goes to the northern kingdom, destroying the things that they've done. So at times we have this idea that they're totally separated. They're two different kingdoms, and that there's no intermingling. Here's another case where there is intermingling. In the 18th year of his reign, he continued his policy of purifying the land and the temple. He sent Shaphan, son of Azaliah, Maaseiah, the city official, and Joah, son of Joaz, the secretary, to repair the temple of the Lord his God. So he waits 18 years to do this. Not sure why it took so long to decide to cleanse and purify the temple. It seems to me, in hindsight, that purifying the temple could have been an effort he could have started before cleansing all the land of things. But, don't know. Maybe there's something else going on there. Anika's Cakery. Hey, welcome in. Sometimes it takes us a long time to decide to finally do a thing we should do. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking the order of the things he's doing, because he's purifying and getting rid of all the idol worship, not only in his country, but the neighboring country, before he repairs and restores and purifies the temple. I was just thinking the order of it in my mind would have been easier to start central, but maybe I'm wrong on that. So yeah, good point though. Finally takes us time to do that. Yeah, and maybe he needed wealth and he needed the people behind him before he could do the things that were necessary. I don't know. Okay. They went to Hilkiah, the high priest, and gave him the silver they had brought to God's temple. The Levites who guarded the door had collected it from the people. See, this might be why. The people of Manasseh and Ephraim. So he's collecting it from the northern kingdom? What? And from all who were left in Israel, as well as from the people of Judah and Benjamin and the residents. So here's why. He is allowing he is allowing the northern kingdom residents to participate in the rebuilding of the temple. So had he done it the other way, they wouldn't have been able to participate in it. So there we go. That's what I love about this. Like, ask a question, pause and think, keep reading the text, and maybe you have the answer right there. So I'm like, why did he do it in the order? Because had he not gone to Manasseh and Ephraim, which are in the north, they couldn't have participated in the rebuilding of the temple. He tore down, got them to stop worshiping foreign gods, tore down their idols, said, we got to worship the true God. Now they're contributing to the rebuilding and restoring of the temple. Oh, maybe that's why. Pop up Taterhead. Good morning, Flatcap and chat. 7.5 hours till grandbaby's time. Oh, dude. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, preparing. Anarchist, thanks for jumping in here, too. Preparing the land in preparation for the temple to be cleansed, like having a clean table before you put a clean plate on it. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, when you put it in that order, oh my goodness, my brain. So there's certain things that I believe are the proper way to clean things. And my wife doesn't always agree on the order of operations. For instance, she will see that the floor is dirty and needs to be cleaned. But at the same time, the counters are dirty and have things on them and need to be cleaned. Well, you could just sweep the floor, which is what she often does. And I'm like, but as soon as I wipe the counters off, I will get some crumbs back on the floor. The floor will need to be swept again. So I will never sweep the floor first. I will always sweep the floor last. So yeah, like you're saying, you have a clean table before you put clean plates on it. Totally makes sense. Yes, counter first. Yes, absolutely. Counter first. This is just like the rule. Top down. You clean top down. Because if you clean above and it drops on stuff below, you got to re-clean what's down below. So always top down is the cleaning order. So. Okay, so I did not like. This is why reading the Bible is so much fun, because you can't remember everything. At least I can't. I can't remember everything, and even if I remember stories, there's always something in there that's new and revealing. And wow, I did not remember the Northern Kingdom helping to restore the temple. That is beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. They handed it over to the construction foreman assigned to the Lord's temple, then in turn paid the temple workers to restore and repair it. They gave money to the craftsmen and builders to buy chiseled stones and wood for the braces and rafters of the buildings that the kings of Judah had allowed to fall into disrepair. The men worked faithfully. Their supervisors were Jahath and Obadiah, Levites descended from Merari, as well as Zechariah and Meshullam, descendants of Kohath. The Levites, all of whom were skilled musicians, supervised the laborers and all the foremen of the various jobs. Some of the Levites were scribes, officials, and guards. So they're all skilled musicians, but some are scribes, officials, and guards. Hey, Star Fox, welcome in. We're reading about Josiah and some temple rebuilding. Martyr. If he cleaned the temple, he would have been met with resistance, but instead cleansed around lands so they could help. That's quite smart. Yeah. And I was thinking the other way around would have been the way I would have done it. I would have started with that. But you're right. Maybe they'd have been resistant to the restoration of the temple. So he starts with restoring them. Yeah. Yeah. Cakery, that's exactly. It's like preparing hearts. Yes, he's preparing them. Oh, such good thoughts today, everybody. Okay. When they took out the silver that had been brought to the Lord's temple, Hilkiah the priest found the law scroll that the Lord had given Moses. Hilkiah informed Shaphan the scribe, I have found the law scroll in the Lord's temple. Hilkiah gave the scroll to Shaphan. Shaphan brought the scroll to the king and reported, "Your servants are doing everything assigned to them. They melted down the silver in the Lord's temple and handed it over to the supervisors and the construction foreman." Then Shaphan the scribe told the king, "Hilkiah the priest has given me a scroll." Shaphan read it out loud before the king. When the king heard the words of the law, he tore his clothes. Sorry, I skipped. Where did it go there? Oh! My screen just went black on me. That's not good. It came back. I'm like, what happened? Now I totally lost my place. Tore his clothes. There it is. Tore his clothes. If you don't know, the tearing of clothes is a representation of sorrow, of bitterness, of angry, of repentance. It's got all kinds of different symbolisms. But what it's intended to do is show outwardly the anguish in your heart. So this reading of the scroll to him, the things that he understands that they've done wrong, rends his heart. So he rends his garment. It tears his heart apart to hear about all the things they should be doing that they're not. That's how I'm going to word it. And so he tears his clothes as an outward symbol of what's happening inwardly within him. So that's the whole tearing of clothes, if you're not sure what that is. It's interesting. Yeah, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to keep going. Because there's more there going on. But it's like he starts the report with, "We're doing all the things you have told us, and we found this while we were doing it." Now, a lot of people say, which scroll is it? I don't know. I don't know which scroll it is. If I think through, is it Genesis? Potentially. There's not a lot of rules and regulations in Genesis that I would say, oh, that had to do with how you worship God, so it was important, and they were missing it. Would have been some stuff that they didn't know. Exodus has some stuff in there, sure. If it was Exodus, it could be beneficial. Numbers is a recounting of some of the stories, so maybe not. My guess is it's either Deuteronomy or it's Leviticus, but I don't know. I mean, we don't know which it is. It just says the words of the law, and all the Torah, the 5 books, are called the law. So it's the scroll of them. Which one of them? They were missing it, so it doesn't matter which one it was. And the king realizes we were missing it. We didn't know it. It would be kind of like, for instance, if we suddenly, and I don't think this will happen, we suddenly had, because there's, in 1 Corinthians, Paul says, in my former book, or my former letter, there was another letter that we don't have. What if we suddenly had that letter and it contained all kinds of things that we didn't know and we had forgotten or we weren't doing right? How would the church respond? How would we do that? I think it's a little bit different, but hey, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate that, Anarchus. I could have sworn I followed you before. Yeah, because you didn't show up as a first-time chatter. But you know what? I found occasionally people I know I have followed become unfollowed. And I'm not sure how that happens. I don't know if there's some algorithm that happens when somebody is getting, their channel bombarded with bots. And it goes to clean up. And it looks and it says, oh, that person followed, but they haven't been here in so long, and it deletes you. I'm guessing it's something quirky like that, but I don't know. I do not know. Okay, so the king has torn his clothes in response. The king ordered Hilkiah, Ahikam, son of Shaphan, Abdon, son of Micah, Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, the king's servant, go ask the Lord for me and for those who remain in Israel and Judah, both kingdoms, about the words of this scroll. They have been discovered, for the Lord's great fury has been ignited against us because our ancestors did not obey the word of the Lord by living according to all that is written in the scroll. Okay. I love this image of living. It says doing, yes. But your walk, your way of life. And earlier it said he didn't stray to the right or the left. So your walk, your journey, your way is how you live out things. So it's not about, I go to church on Sunday, so look at me, I'm holy, and I'm a Christian because I show up in a building 1 hour a week. And then I go back to my neighborhood and I yell at my neighbor because his dog's a nuisance, and I don't clean up after my own dog, and I cut people off on the road, and I cut in line, and I berate the cashier, and I yell at the waitress, and I don't tip her because my food was cold, and I live however I want, greedily and powerfully and all of that, but I go to church on Sunday. No, your way of life. This is what you do on the daily. Your way of life. So they haven't been doing the way of life. They haven't even been doing the ceremonial stuff. So what does he do? He inquires of God. He tears his clothes and is like, I don't know how to respond. We've done messed up, Aaron. We've not been doing anything right. Before we start doing the wrong thing, let's ask God what we should do. Let's see, how many people were in the list? Okay, so the king ordered Hilkiah, Ahiakim, Abdon, Shapha, and Asa. Oh, it's 5. It's 5. 5 is a representation of the Torah, of the law. I don't know if that's just symbolically there or it was intentionally done, but he has 5 individuals to go to God to inquire about the law, about the Torah. 5 people go to inquire of God about the law in the Torah that they've just found. What are we to do with this, God? How should we respond? So Hilkiah and the others sent by the king went to Huldah, the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, son of Tohath, the son of Hashrah, the supervisor of the wardrobe. She lived in Jerusalem in Mishnah district. Okay, what's the keeper of the clothes? Okay, the wardrobe. Okay, just an aside here. I want the text to speak to us, okay? The people have just found a scroll. They don't know what to do. Their first thought is, let's go ask a woman. Yes, their first thought is, let's go ask a woman. Why? Because she's a prophetess. There's no distinction here between men and women when they are prophets. There's a few that show up. Yes, there are more men mentioned. It doesn't mean that the women aren't. There's several times where women are mentioned. Here we have one by name. So we need to go look up what Huldah means. What does Huldah mean? If you've been here before, if you hang out a lot, you know when I see a woman's name in the text, I want to specifically know the meaning of it. I look up a lot of others, but if there's a woman in the text, I think there's something probably there that we want to know. So 34:22. What are we in? We're in 33, I think, here. Yeah, 34. I'm using Blue Letter Bible here, by the way, if you did not know. Not that it's the best, but it is free and everybody can use it. Huldah.
Strong's H2468. Huldah.
Well, that's a name. Weasel. Okay. The prophetess Weasel. So she's mentioned here. Oh, it could be a mole. Okay. Maybe there's not. See, I said, is there something? And you know what? Maybe they have a different, I don't know how weasels were viewed. My brain wants to go cunning and sly, but I might be wrong. Weasels might have been known for wisdom. I don't know. I'd have to go look that up, follow it further. But they go to the prophetess. They don't go to a male prophet. They go to the prophetess. I don't think it's just an ease of, oh, she's the closest one. No. With as serious as this task is, they go to the person who is best qualified. That's what I believe they're doing. They go to the person with the best qualifications, and the best qualifications is Huldah the prophetess. Okay, they stated their business, and she said to them, this is what the Lord God of Israel says. Say to this man who sent you to me. This is what the Lord says. I am about to bring distress on this place and its resident. All the curses that are recorded in the scroll, which they read before the king of Judah. Ah, so there's our clue. Which scroll is it? Which one has all the curses? I want to say Deuteronomy. Which, if you're thinking, if you got the 5 books, which one would be the easiest to lose? The last one, maybe. I don't know. So the curses that are spoken are all about to be fulfilled. Hey, I'm watching. Welcome in. This will happen because they have abandoned me and offered sacrifices to other gods, angering me with all the idols they have made. My anger will ignite against this place and will not be extinguished. Say this to the king of Judah, who sent you to seek an oracle from the Lord. This is what the Lord God of Israel says concerning the words you have heard. You displayed a sensitive spirit and humbled yourself before God when you heard his word concerning this place and its residents. You humbled yourself before me, tore your clothes, and wept before me, and I have heard you, says the Lord. Therefore, I will allow you to die and be buried in peace. You will not have to witness all the disaster I will bring on this place and its residents. Then they reported back to the king. Okay. So how's the king going to receive this? Is good news or bad news? If we go back to several people who we've already read about, who, like Eli. When Eli hears that his son... Oh, thanks for the cookies! The Pizzle cookies. When Eli hears his sons are going to die, he's like, meh. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I won't get to see it, so that's okay. They're Italian. Oh, interesting. Don't believe I've had those. So he's like, meh. Oh, I got an ad break. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. If you're new here and you're still here because you've got Turbo, during the ads, we go to fish.
Flat cat pastor rocks his tweed.
So let's go and
Streaming life by the reef.
feed the koi.
Fish pond calm and glassy clear. View it all right from here. Dapper man with Saxon hand plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze. Serenade.
Regent Purse. Awesome. Good morning, koi. Yeah, I go to the fish when there's ad breaks. So you miss fish, but you know, it's not the same as missing part of the conversation.
Stream it live, come what may. With his cam, he shows it all.
You're doing the turbo trial. Nice. I haven't done the turbo. I'm like, once I get a job, once I get a job and an income, I will probably do the turbo and then still throw around. So honestly, a bit disorienting. Okay, that's good to know. Let me go all the fish here a minute. So there's the baby koi, all in the feeding frenzy. Looks like I need to clean the screen there. There's the koi pond. Waterfall. Beautiful. Sunrise still has not happened. So you can see here where the sun is. We see it's gradually migrating south here. So we're facing east. Over the summer, it's way over here. It's all the way over to here. We've only got about a month before it's going to be totally hidden by the trees, and sunrise will not be so good. So that's where the sun went. It's just coming up. I do sunset on there too as well. Come on, Guppy Cam. There we go. There's the guppies.
Little fish, both big and
It's frozen. Why are you frozen?
Life in ponds so serene. Nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow. Hear the music, gentle.
Well, anyway. Nah, it's left here hours ago. It's almost 11 p.m. Yes. So, alright. So the Guppy Cam is frozen. Let me just go back to all of them.
Rhythm of his song.
And there's my other stream. So if you want to watch the fish over the weekend, I put up the fish streams. and put those there. Since we're on a pause here, I'll get back to where we were at. Blessing Boat is next Saturday. Oh, I need to finish that up. You know what? I didn't get an answer yet. Anyway, that's my rabbit trail in my brain. You just heard half of the conversation out loud. So Blessing Boat is next Saturday. I will be on Blessing Boat twice. Once doing what I do. We'll probably do a little Bible, and then I'll pull up, and maybe we'll look at Gate Zero. I got swag that I'll be giving away next Saturday. I got a bunch of swag. Oh, which way's up? Here we go. I got a bunch of Gate Zero swag that I'm going to give away. And what I'd love for you to do if you get the swag is take a photo, send me the photo. You don't want your face in it, that's fine. Just have it holding up, show it to me. Warrior gets a bit busy. I think it's worth it to reach out to him once more. Oh, yeah, we've already been talking. So, no, it wasn't about that. It was me talking to someone else because I checked with them yesterday. There were potentially 2 spots open. So it was about helping to fill the spots and talking to someone else who made a VOD, but I wanted permission before sharing the VOD. See, all that happened in my head and like, so, oh, also, let me do this. Okay, so I have a friend that I'm connected with, and they asked me, hey, a friend of mine, his dad, is got cancer. Can we help with that? And I'm like, dude, I can help with that. So if you've not been here before, we do a thing called Pass the Cap, and we pass it around. If you are able to, please go give a donation there. In the comments, just put Pass the Cap or Flat Cap or whatever you want to put. If you want to, so that they know that my community is helping and supporting them through this. So we'll be starting that today and then fundraising and collecting for 2 weeks. And I love it when someone gives me their own GoFundMe. I don't have to touch any of the money. It goes straight to them. So if you give it straight to them at the GoFundMe, that's fantastic. It'll go right to them. And we'll be able to bless them. I won't know how much you gave. I don't care how much you gave. If you give anything, if you give $1, if you give 50 cents, I don't know if it lets you do that, but if whatever you give, it's a blessing. Totally a blessing. So, anyway, please read the whisper. Okay, I don't see it showing up yet. Oh, yes. Sounds good. 4-year affiliate? Oh, that's reason enough to go there. Yeah, that sounds good. If it's 4, like somebody's doing a celebration, let's go there. Yeah, let's go to One Reason. Absolutely. If it's 4-year affiliate anniversary, I'm in. All right. So where we were at. Oh, yeah, I was asking about how is the king going to respond to the news that it won't happen in your lifetime? It won't happen in your lifetime, but destructions are coming. Destructions are coming. So he's going to allow him to not see it. Now, like I said, some bad people along the way have kind of gone, well, it won't be in my lifetime, so what do I care? I'm sorry. If I knew, for instance, I'm just going to pick a nuclear disaster because it's terrifying. If I knew a nuclear disaster was going to wipe out my grandkids, I don't have any yet. So let's just say my great-grandkids because I don't have any. If I knew it was going to wipe out them, I wouldn't go, well, it won't happen in my lifetime, so it's no big deal. No. I would feel horrible. I would I'd be trying to figure out how to stop it. What can I do? Is there anything we can do? I'd keep pleading on behalf to not, that's my thought. So these people that go, meh, I won't be alive. It just bugs me. So let's see what Josiah does. So the king summoned all the leaders of Judah and Jerusalem. The king went up to the Lord's temple, accompanied by all the people of Judah, the residents of Jerusalem, the priests and the Levites. All the people were there from the oldest to the youngest. He read aloud all the words of the scroll of the covenant that had been discovered in the Lord's temple. The king stood by his pillar and renewed the covenant before the Lord agreeing to follow the Lord and to obey the commandments, laws, and rules with all his heart and being by carrying out the terms of this covenant recorded on this scroll. King's response, gather everybody, we're recommitting to the covenant. We're recommitting to the covenant. Why? Because his heart is committed to following God. He made all who were in Jerusalem and Benjamin agree to it. The residents of Jerusalem acted in accordance with the covenant of God, the God of their ancestors. Josiah removed all the detestable idols from all the areas belonging to the Israelites and encouraged all who were in Israel to worship the Lord their God. Throughout the rest of the reign, they did not turn aside from following the Lord God of their ancestors. Okay, I've got a question in my brain. I'm going to give you a BRB because I just got to go grab something to look at it real quick because I've got a thought in my brain and I want to look at it. So, BRB.
Black cat pastor dashing through pages. Chronicles, Gospels, prophets, sages. Leviticus, laws to pause, find phrases. Turning them corners, no spiritual mazes. Genesis to Revelation, so divine. Flip them scripts, endless grace you'll find. Psalms singing sweet, unbroken lines. Hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed?
Okay, I didn't need that for long. I just did not have this in front of me. So I've showed this to you before. This is the kingdoms. You've got Saul, David, Solomon, and then it's divided. There are 20 kings of Judah. There are 20 kings of Israel. And so you've got the timeline there. So what I wanted to go look at is where is Josiah at? And we have Manasseh, and then we have Amon, and then we have Josiah, if you're looking there. There is no kingdom of Israel at this time. That's what I wanted to go look at. Because I was suddenly thinking he's going back up to the remnants of Israel. He's going back up to the northern kingdom. So the northern kingdom has been conquered. Okay? They've been taken to exile, some of them. They've been conquered by Assyria. And there's still some remnant who are there in the land. So he has gone to them. So he went to them before and was with them. I'm trying to look at my dates here. So the last king in the north was 732 to 722 was Hosea. And so Hezekiah was king when they in the south when they were taken into exile. And then Manasseh was the evil king that got taken to Babylon, but then returned and turned to God. Then Amon was so evil, they killed him right away. And then Josiah. So, but it's not going to happen in his lifetime. Okay, that's what I wanted to look at. So yes, he's going to the northern kingdom. He's going to all, like anybody that's a remnant, he's sharing the news with. That's what I wanted to go see. Okay, so I was correct. I like when my brain works and I realize something. It's a day for dancing. It's a day for dancing. I just realized Josiah's trying to reach out to the remnant. I hadn't realized that before. He's reaching out to the remnant. That's why he's going out there and including them in that. That's why he goes as far as all those places. Because it's like, you are all of the people. Yeah, brain workage, exactly. And then, yeah, day for dancing. If you don't know, that's what the rabbis talk about. When you discover something in Scripture that you don't know and you haven't seen or you don't understand, it's a day for dancing. Because in the day you discover and understand it, in that day, you'll be dancing. And so it's that day. It's that day I discovered something I had not seen before. I love when that happens. Okay, so okay, he removed all the detestable idols. Yeah, he went to Israel and encouraged. Okay, Josiah. Sprint Eastful, welcome in, friend. Maybe you've been lurking. Appreciate it. Josiah removed all the detestable idols from all the areas belonging to Israelites. and encouraged all who were in Israel to worship the Lord their God through the rest of his reign. They did not turn aside from following the Lord, the God of their ancestors. So, in Josiah's lifetime, he finds a scroll that's missing. He gets restoration of the temple. He gets restoration of the people serving and following God. But he got told, it's too late. I won't bring the destruction in your lifetime. So there we go. Your cap is rated today. Thank you, friend. I don't have orange yet, but there's green turtles on my shirt, so I figured the green would pull out that. Josiah observed a Passover festival for the Lord in Jerusalem. Okay, so we have who was it that was Hezekiah? Hezekiah does a Passover festival. Now Josiah does. So Josiah observed a Passover festival to the Lord in Jerusalem. They slaughtered the Passover lamb on the 14th day of the first month. They appointed the priests to fulfill their duties and encouraged them to carry out their service in the Lord's temple. He told the Levites who instructed all Israel about things consecrated to the Lord. Place the holy ark in the temple which King Solomon, son of David of Israel, built. Don't carry it on your shoulders. Now serve the Lord your God and his people. I think this is a reference to when the ark was carried improperly. So make sure you're carrying it on poles, I think is what that is referring to. Prepare yourself by your families according to your divisions, as instructed in writing by King David of Israel and his son Solomon. Stand in the sanctuary and together with the Levites represent the family divisions of your countrymen. Slaughter the Passover lamb, consecrate yourself, and make preparations for your countrymen to celebrate according to the Lord's message, which came through Moses. Okay, for your countrymen. This is like all 12 tribes need to be represented here. Make representation for them so that they are included. We don't want anyone excluded from the Passover celebration. Doesn't matter, they're in a defunct kingdom in the north. They're welcome. They can come. Let's invite them in. Let's bring them in. You got relatives there. You stand in on behalf of them. We're going to do this. Oh, by the way, if you remember, the priestly garb had each of the 12 tribes represented on their shoulders and on the stones on, at least the high priest did. So they should have been represented there. So while they were a divided kingdom, wow, just thinking about that. While they're a divided kingdom, you're representing people you are not in unity with. Wow. Just had a thought. What if? And I don't know what your pastor has. I have robes that I wear occasionally, and I have a stole that has different things on there. What if I had the symbol of all these different denominations on that stole, so when I did something, I was representing the full kingdom of God, not just my denomination? Wow, what would the difference would that make? That I would represent the unity under God's rule. Oh, it's so good. Annika, time for bed. Have a great rest of the stream and fabulous day, y'all. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend, because you'll be there before we are. Thank you for stopping in. Okay. From his own royal flocks and herd, Josiah supplied the people with 30,000 lambs and goats for the Passover sacrifice, as well as 3,000 cattle. Okay, it's just a different way of phrasing it. Okay, his officials also willingly contributed to the people, priests, and Levites. Hilkiah, Zechariah, and Jehiel. The leaders of God's temple gave the priests 2,600 Passover sacrifices and 300 cattle. So they're cutting down what can happen here as they're doing it. Conaniah and his brothers Shemaiah and Nethanel, along with Hashabiah, Jael, and Jozabad, The officials of the Levites supplied the Levites with 5,000 Passover sacrifices and 500 cattle. So here's how they're distributing them from that total. Preparations were made, and the priests stood at their post, and the Levites in their divisions, as prescribed by the king. Pre-Pony! Oh, let's get a shout out for Pre-Pony. Welcome in, friend. Glad to have you here. Crazy week, hasn't it been? Oh my goodness. Like things are happening so fast. So we're reading in 2nd Chronicles about King Josiah. And they found the scroll, if you know that one. Preparations were made, and the priest... Oh, they did that. As prescribed by the king. They slaughtered the Passover lamb, and the priest splashed the blood, while the Levites skinned the animals. So there's a good representation of the division. So the priests are splashing blood, because that's what priestly duties are supposed to be. But skinning the animals, touching the carcass and the dead skin and all of that is going to be an unclean activity, so they can pass that off. Thanks for the lurk! They reserved the burnt offerings and the cattle for the family divisions of the people to present to the Lord, as prescribed in the scroll of Moses.
Stuart BNFSMF just followed.
Stuart, thanks for the follow. BNFSMF. Not sure what those mean, but not a... What? Thanks for the Prime sub. Oh my goodness. Like, subs are amazing, but you only get one Prime sub, and you gave it here. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Stuart. Join in the conversation, too, freely. Ask questions, give input. You have other stuff going on in life? Let us know. Glad you're here. Looking to drop my Prime. Thank you for your ministry, bro. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. If you hang out here, you know I'm a Bible nerd. I get geeked out about stuff happening. We've had a couple of discoveries today that I never realized, and that's just so much fun. Whoa! Twitch, we added 3 bits and 2 bonus bits. I'm watching you people power up redemption. What? Oh, that's right. That's right. Twitch will randomly... Oh! Twitch cheered 5 bits. So, if you don't know, Twitch has got, right now, random matching bits. And then sometimes just random bits that they will throw out there. I don't know how the algorithm's working, but hey! Twitch gave me some biddies. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, so Twitch is giving out free biddies and bonus biddies. I think you have to give 300 to automatically get biddies, but otherwise they're randomly giving matching biddies if you give less than that. So I'm not saying you got to give 300. I'm just letting you know. I believe that's what it was. Okay, I'm watching. This year runs from August 29, 10 p.m. to October 1. The discounts are 25% off new reoccurring, 25% off 3 month, 30% off a 6 month. There it is. Twitch will cheer 10% on top of cheers of 300 bits. That's what it is. So if you give 300, they'll give 30 bits on top of that. And then just random. Every gift sub purchase on your channel, Twitch will add 1 bonus sub. Oh, that's cool. So if you give a gift sub, a bonus sub will have... Oh, man, that's awesome. September is the purple E-note. Oh, I did not know what that was. Thanks. Yeah, Twitch cheers are kind of funny. I got awesome mods who just know stuff. I remembered I read the 300 thing, but you have all the info. You got all the deets there. Okay, so I was pointing out that they're dividing the activities that are happening, the priestly duties from the duties that the Levites can assist with. So the Levites don't assist with the blood, but they can assist with the cleaning of the animal carcass, skinning it. They reserved the burnt offerings and the cattle for the family divisions of the people to present to the Lord as prescribed in the scroll of Moses. They cooked the Passover sacrifices over open fire as prescribed and cooked the consecrated offerings in pots, kettles, and pans. They quickly served them to all the people. Afterward, they made preparations for themselves and for the priest, because the priests, the descendants of Aaron, were offering burnt sacrifices in fat portions until evening. The Levites made preparation for themselves and for the priests, the descendants of Aaron. So they repeat that twice. Interesting. So the priests are doing so many sacrifices, they don't have time to be able to prepare themselves for all the stuff they need. So the Levites are preparing all the stuff for the family on their behalf. Yeah, the power of copy and paste makes you look capable. Oh, yes. Well, that's fine. You still had to have it to know at your fingertips to copy from. So, the musicians, the descendants of Asaph, manned their post as prescribed by David. Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun, the king's prophets. Yes, if you did not know, Heman is in the Bible. Heman is in the Bible. Believe it means faithful. Heman means faithful. The guards at the various gates did not need to leave their posts, for their fellow Levites made preparations for them. What? What did we just have? What did we just have? Twitch added some more biddies. What? That's awesome. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Twitch. I'm the recipient of random biddies. Now I lost my place, Twitch. How you like that? Okay, the musicians, the guards. Okay. So the guards don't even have to leave because the Levites are preparing for them. So if you want to talk about loving and serving your neighbor, like, you guys are busy doing work. Let me do all the preparation for your Passover meal. I'm going to get it all set up. You just have to come and join in. That's it. That's it. So all the preparation for the Lord's service were made that day as the Passover was observed, and the burnt sacrifices were offered on the altar of the Lord as prescribed by King Josiah. So the Israelites who were present observed the Passover at that time, as well as the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days. A Passover like this had not been observed in Israel since the days of Samuel the prophet. None of the kings of Israel had observed a Passover like the one celebrated by Josiah, the priests, the Levites, all the people of Judah and Israel who were there and resided in Jerusalem. This Passover was observed in the 18th year of Josiah's reign. Okay. We had Hezekiah restore the temple worship and have a Passover feast and have cleansing that happened and preparation that took 16 days to do that. But I don't think Hezekiah had any of the Israelites from the northern tribe there. That's why this is saying none has happened like this, because the northern kingdom is represented in the Passover. They haven't been participating in the Passover since the days of Samuel. They haven't been participating since Samuel was alive. There hasn't been this big of a thing. So that's interesting, because I would have thought under Solomon you might have said that they could have, but it's the equating with the, so if you can equate it further back, you equate it further back to the more prestigious. So Samuel the prophet being very prestigious, would it be a more prestigious thing to say, since we were all one kingdom, since the beginning, the founding of the kingdom that was anointed by Samuel. I think that's the reference there. So even if you could say, oh, it was just as good in David, it was just as good in Solomon, Samuel's the bigger reference there, or the prophet of God. After Josiah had done all this for the temple, King Necho of Egypt marched up to do battle at Carchemish on the Euphrates River. Josiah marched out to oppose him. Necho sent messengers to him saying, Why are you opposing me, O King of Judah? I am not attacking you today, but the kingdom with which I am at war, God told me to hurry. Stop opposing God, who is with me, or else he will destroy you. What? So Necho says, God told me that What? So I'm supposed to let Necho come through? I thought you were coming to me. Necho, where you going? Necho, where you going? Okay. Regardless of if this is true or not true, let's just think about that for a minute. So if it's true or not true, shouldn't Josiah go inquire of God? God, is this true? Did you tell King Necho to go do something and I should get out of his way? Seems a little interesting to me that a foreign king has been... I know it happens, but I just don't know I should trust him or if he's lying. So I need to inquire of God would be my inclination. But Josiah did not turn back from him. He disguised himself for battle. He did not take seriously the words of Necho that he had received from God. He went to fight him in the plain of Megiddo. So, Megiddo, if you know, Megiddo, Armageddon, that is the mountain of Megiddo. So this is in the plain of Megiddo. This is in the plain of Megiddo. The mountain of Megiddo would be at the edge of the plain. Archers shot King Josiah. The king ordered his servants, "Take me out of this chariot, for I am seriously wounded." So his servants took him out of the chariot, put him in another chariot that he owned, and brought him to Jerusalem, where he died. He was buried in the tombs of his ancestors. All the people of Judah and Jerusalem mourned Josiah. Jeremiah composed laments for Josiah, which all the male and female singers used to mourn Josiah to this very day. It has become customary in Israel to sing these. They are recorded in the book of Laments. Okay, so does that mean that Lamentations was written for Josiah? Is that what I'm to hear there? That the book of Lamentations, which is written by Jeremiah, was written for male and female singers to sing as they mourn Josiah. That's fascinating. Wow. But again, I'm like, Josiah, why don't you inquire of God if King Necho is correct? And God did tell him, I don't want to oppose God. But instead you disguise yourself. Oh, wait a minute. When was the last time we had a king disguise themselves? It was a king of Israel. Is it Ahab? I think it was Ahab that might have disguised himself. Anyway, it was one of the northern kings that went into battle with Jehoshaphat and disguised himself. He ends up dead by a random arrow killed him. Here we have a king disguise himself. The king ends up dead. Gee, this seems like a bad plan. Don't disguise yourself to go into battle so that you look like just a regular guy. Okay, the rest of the events of Josiah's reign, including the faithful acts he did in obedience to what is written in the law of the Lord and his accomplishes from start to finish, are recorded in the scrolls of the kings of Israel and Judah. So I believe that's the book of Kings. The people of the land. By the way, we are to the final chapter of 2 Chronicles. We've made it to the end. The people of the land took Jehoaz, son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's place in Jerusalem. Joaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. The king of Egypt prevented him from ruling in Jerusalem and imposed on the land a special tax of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. The king of Egypt made Joaz's brother Eliakim king over Judah and Jerusalem and changed his name to Jehoiakim. Necho seized his brother Jehoaz and took him to Egypt. Okay. So we have Jehoaz becomes king when dad dies. He's king 3 months, and Egypt says, not having it, seizes him, hauls him away, puts brother on charge. Well, you elevate the younger brother, you might be able to control him because he wasn't planning on ruling. So let's go look up these names here a minute, and his name changed. Somebody's name is changed. I want to know what it was changed to. Okay, so we got 36. The king of Egypt made his brother king and turned... Okay, what was his name? Okay, there it is. Eliakim, and he changes it to Jehoiakim. So El would be perhaps God, and Yeho would also be God. So might not be much of a change in the meaning. Let's see. Jehoiakim. Where was Eliakim? There it is. Eliakim. Okay, Eliakim is his name to begin with. Eliakim.
Strong's H 471. Eliakim.
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 God raises. God sets up. Oh! His name is God sets up. So his name gets changed from God sets up.
Strong's H 3079. Jehoiakim. Jehoiakim.
To God raises up. So instead of God raises or God sets up, it is God raises up. So not much of a difference. Not much of a difference there, other than it. Eliakim, yeah. El being Elohim, being a more generic term for gods to Yahweh, the very specific. I know it says Jehovah. I prefer Yahweh. There's some reasons why I don't care about that if you go with Jehovah, but yeah. So his name is changed to Jehoiakim. And then it sees as Yehoaz. So Yehoaz, what is Yehoaz? It took Yehoaz, so that's going to be God something. God has grasped.
Strong's H 3099. Yoachaz. Yoachaz.
Okay.
Second entry. Yehoachaz. Yehoachaz.
So the king dies, and his son is God has grasped. And King Necho comes and grasps him off the throne and hauls him away. We're supposed to know this is an act of God, not an act of King Necho, because God is the one who grasped him and hauled him away. Just as he said, this is an act of God. It's not an act of King Necho. God has grasped, and then God has set up. God raises up. So you raise up the second one. Yeah, God raises up. God sets up. So making very specific then the change from El to Yah so that you know which God did it. Not Necho's God, but Yahweh, the God of the people. Okay. At least that's what I'm seeing there. At least that's what I'm seeing in that transition. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. He did evil in the sight of the Lord his God. King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon attacked him, bound him with bronze chains, and carried him away to Babylon. Okay, so brother is hauled away to Egypt. You're put in place by Egypt. Babylon comes, hauls you away. Nebuchadnezzar took some of the items of the Lord's temple to Babylon and put them in his palace there. So temple items are going in the palace. The rest of the events of Jehoiakim's reign, including the horrible sins he committed and his shortcomings, are recorded in the scrolls of the kings of Israel and Judah. His son Jehoiachin replaced him as king. Sherry Hymns, welcome in. Hello, Pastor, and hello, chat. So, we're not going into all the details because we're just pointing out he was evil, and we want to go off, like, look at the amount of time that's given to good things that kings did. When kings were doing good, we get a whole layout of the goodness, of the spiritual nature, of the things that the kings are doing, and the response of the people. But when they're bad, we get a little flavor of it, and they did a whole bunch of awful stuff, and boom, boom, the reply of God is there. That's what we're supposed to see. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem. Very specific amount. So some texts read 8 years old, some say 18. There's a discrepancy of how old he is. They've taken the choice to go and match it with Kings, which the Kings, 2 Kings says he's 18. So they're saying, this one must be wrong, saying he's probably 18. And then that's just going to have maps there. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. But let's go look up Jehoiachin. Since we just looked up brother and father, so Jehoiachin sounds very close to Jehoiakim. So God sets up, what do we have? Jehoiachin. Jehoiakim, God establishes.
Strong's H 3078. Jehoiachin.
Jehoiachin. So the king is taken off the throne by a foreigner, and God raises up, becomes king. The king is taken off of the throne, and God establishes, goes on the throne. Like, isn't like the names of the kings have beauty in them that we don't see when we read these weird names in English? We go, yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's a weird name. I'm never naming anybody that. You know what? If you had twins, Jehoiachin and Jehoiakim might be some nice name. God establishes and God raises up. Those might be some nice names for twins. Just saying. Okay. At the beginning of the year, King Nebuchadnezzar ordered him to be brought to Babylon along with the valuable items in the Lord's temple. In his place, Nebuchadnezzar made Jehoiachin's relative Zedekiah king over Judah and Jerusalem. Made Zedekiah his brother king. Okay, so brother is a term that does not have to mean biological brother. It's just a kinsman of the king. So it's really his uncle. But let's go look up Zedekiah. We just looked up a bunch of them. I just feel like I want to know one more if there's something in the name going on. So Zedekiah. And that's going to have God in it, the at the end. God is righteous.
6667. Sidkiyahu.
He sets up God is righteous as king. So you're getting a message that in these final kings, that God establishes, God raises up, and God is righteous. Going into exile. One more, he says. One more. I don't think there's any more kings. That's why I said one more. There's only one more king. He's it. Zedekiah is the end. So now we get to read about Zedekiah. Twitch added 3 bits to I'm Watching You People's Power Up Redemption. The Power Up Redemptions for the Twitch biddies. Haha, got 3 that time. Come on, Twitch, let's go. Okay. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he ruled for 11 years in Jerusalem. So it's not a, hey, bump, 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 moving pieces, and it's over. It's moving pieces, and now there's still an ongoing thing. So we had a quick changeover there of king to king to king, exile, that happening, and now we got 11 years. He did evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Okay, wait. Dude, you just watched what happened to your relatives of being hauled away by other kings. Why are you going to go mess up? Like, come on, man. He did not humble himself before Jeremiah the prophet. Oh, that's right. He's really antagonistic towards Jeremiah, the Lord's spokesman. He also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him vow allegiance in the name of God. He was stubborn and obstinate and refused to return to the Lord God of Israel. All the leaders of the priests and the people became more unfaithful and committed the same horrible sins practiced by the nations. They defiled the Lord's temple, which he had consecrated in Jerusalem. Johnny Darko, good morning, friend. The Lord God of their wait, it says like I missed something. No. The Lord God of their ancestors continually warned them through his messages, for he felt compassion for his people and his dwelling place. But they mocked God's messengers despite the warnings and ridiculed his prophets. Finally, the Lord got very angry at his people, and there was no one who could prevent his judgment. He brought against them the king of Babylonians, who slaughtered their young men in the temple and did not spare young men or women or even the old and aged. God handed everyone over to him. He carried away to Babylon all the items in God's temple, whether large or small, as well as what was in the treasury of the Lord's temple and in the treasuries of the kings and his officials. They burned down God's temple and tore down the walls of Jerusalem. They burned all its fortified buildings and destroyed all its valuable items. He deported to Babylon all who escaped the sword. He served him and his sons until the Persian kingdom rose in power. This took place to fulfill the Lord's message spoken through Jeremiah, and lasted until the land experienced its sabbatical years. All the time of its desolation, the land rested in order to fulfill the 70 years. Concerning the 70 years, Jeremiah 25:11, Cyrus' edict, occurred about 55 years after the fall of Jerusalem, which is most naturally understood as the beginning point of the days of desolation mentioned in verse 21. The number 70 is probably used in a metaphorical sense, indicating a typical lifetime and suggesting a thorough and complete judgment. That's where I would go. That would not be lifted until the entire new generation emerged. Yes. So we had a wandering in the wilderness that was until the generation passed away. Going into exile, going to be the same kind of thing, but 70 years. So if you're supposed to have a Sabbath every 7 years, and then a Jubilee year every 7 sevens, which would be year 50. So every 50 years, you would have 8 years of rest of the land. So I don't know how to do all that math, figure it out to get to 70. But whatever, you get how that gets together. It'd be easy to say, oh, it's 490 years. Not quite working if you add the Jubilee years in there, which were every 50 years. So anyway, but I think 70 is symbolic. It doesn't matter the time. It's going to be total restoration, total time in the land until the total time of penalty has been paid. And interesting, yeah, I hadn't thought about 70 being the length of a lifetime, but I don't think there's other references that say 70 shall be the years. Let me just go look that up real quick. 70 has a lot of references. What's the first reference to 70? Oops. Helps if I spell it right. Oh, 77 times is the first reference. Okay. Abraham was 75. That were 70 in all. The members that go down to Egypt. Egypt's mourned him 70 days. Jacob numbered 70 in all. 70 palm trees. 70 of the elders. Okay, so you've got 70 shows up a number of times. A lot of times. Shekels. Okay. Gee, a nice ad there, Bible Gateway. Yes, why, I would love to have a car. Thanks for advertising that. Oh, and pumpkin spice. I need that. You can tell I never scroll to the bottom. Never scroll past here. Okay. So they're in 70 years in exile. They're going to get fulfillment of the prophecy. So remember, Chronicles is written after the fact, after return from exile. Telling the story of, hey, we returned from exile. Let's not forget the lessons of it. Passing the cookies out. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, in fulfillment of the Lord's message spoken through Jeremiah, the Lord motivated King Cyrus of Persia to issue a proclamation throughout the kingdom and also put it in writing. It read, "This is what King Cyrus of Persia said. The Lord God of heaven has given me all the kingdoms of the earth." Wait a minute. He doesn't have the kingdom of Egypt. How can he say he has all the kingdoms of the earth? Okay, we have to remember at times hyperbolic language is used symbolically. All doesn't always mean all. I know you've probably heard lots of pastors preach for years. I remember hearing this all the time. All means all. No, it doesn't always mean all. I am acknowledging all that I have control over. And all that I have control over is what I consider the world. Yeah, there's Egypt out there, but who cares? All the kingdoms of the earth, he has appointed me to build a temple for him in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Any one of the people among you may go up there, and may the Lord God be with you. Okay, now we're done. We're done with, and it's flowing right into Ezra here in the first year of King Cyrus. That's interesting. That's interesting to me. But let's go see where we're at. Where's our chart? Woohoo! Yeah, we finished. We finished Chronicles here. And yay! More biddies from Twitch. Thank you, Twitch. What do those power-up redemptions cost you? Are those channel points or are those something else? I know you do those often. I haven't used those. $30. Okay. Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. So when you're doing those, you're giving out some extra as well. So if that cost 30 and I got 3, that's still 10%. And when I got 5, that was even better than 10%. So I'm going to say that's better than giving the 300 ratio-wise. You're doing better. And they get 10% extra. That rando is paying off on that. I think it is. Okay. So we've got Micah. I haven't looked at what's past that. Let's look at what Micah. How long is the book of Micah? 7 chapters. 7 chapters. I'm just trying to decide between. You know what? I'll let you vote. We got Micah or we've got 2 Corinthians. So I'm going to do a poll. Let me figure this out. I'll let you guys decide which way we're going. Two Corinthians or Micah? All right. The poll is up. So, yeah, you decide which way we're going. So if we go back here, Micah 1 through 4, there's only 7 chapters. that would finish out all of our Old Testament for August. Yeah, I know we're in September. And then we've got 2 Corinthians here that we could start. So it's either quick jump into Micah, knock that out, and then we'll be in 2 Corinthians all next week. Or let's just start 2 Corinthians and let's dive into it. And I'll probably finish 2 Corinthians before I go to Micah. I'm enjoying doing one book more because of how we flow in doing that right now. I'm enjoying that more. And I need to get September on the board here. I need to get a new tab and get September up. So, there we go. New tab. Oh, should have copied the other sheet. Oh, wait. Oh, well. We'll get it added. All right. So, get your votes in. Get your votes in. Yes. Was going to just say, if you haven't seen it fully, I was at ReachCon last weekend. Stuff is in the works. The Discord server over for those of us who are at ReachCon. Here, by the way, there we go. ReachCon.org.f. I finally took off the banner. I don't know if we're going to get a logo, but we just got the invite to be in the ReachCon group. I don't know what it's called. But you know how you can have teams on Twitch? I'm now in that team. So I wanted to show you. This was every single one of the streamers that was there. Not Nick Cage, hey! We got one of these. And so, you know, I had to put my photo, my name, my couple of logos, and my hats. And what's really fun is you can really start to see the Easter eggs that are in here. And there's literal eggs in there. There's a cross. There's little containers. Oh, there's a couple of Legos there. There's Dancing Jesus. You probably can't see all these. Oh, there's Aquaman down here. There's Easy Button. I mean, there's all kinds of fun little things hidden right behind me that you may never see. But I was showing you that, and I'll get it in the chat when. We got 2 votes for Micah. Okay, we're going for Micah. We're going for Micah. Yeah, that was fun. For Micah. Those are going to be available not for just myself, but for other streamers. They're going to be made available. They're going to be a merch store up that you can buy those. And I don't remember the price totally of what it's going to be. But I, as a streamer, would get a part of that. And then there's some other monies that cover the cost of it. And the person that's going to make them all, they would get a cut of it. But if you want something like that, to be able to hang up or to have or post for anybody that was at ReachCon, I'll get you that info once we do that. Let me just share once more before we jump in to Micah. I had a request for GoFundMe. You know what? I'm actually going to open this up. Let me copy that. And let's go open that up so I can show you. So a friend that I know in ministry who's involved in several different places. What? That was not what I just copied. What is wrong with you? There we go. His friend's dad is fighting prostate cancer, and I'm guessing the $30,000 is going to be, it's a large amount. I'm not going to raise that much unless God blesses us in some amazing way. That won't be what I will be able to help with, but you can help in small ways. So if you would like to, we pass a cap. If we're able to, we help others. So Josh, a friend of mine, his friend Mikey's dad has prostate cancer. So to cover the cost and expenses of that and things associated with it, they're doing a fundraiser. So if you'd like to help, if you've been blessed, That's what we do with Pass the Cap. If you know someone else that is struggling and needs some help, there's a channel in the Discord for Pass the Cap. Send me them. I'll contact them. We'll raise funds for 2 weeks. That's how we've been doing it. And then we'll pass it on. Yes, I can share the GoFundMe on my stream. Yeah, so it's right there in the chat. You can click on it. And when I have their GoFundMe, I like that a whole lot better. There's no money coming in through me that then I have to send out. It just goes straight. Yeah, or on social media. Yeah. I haven't done it on social media. I will have to think about that. I like that thought, but I'll have to figure out the way to do that. Okay. Let's jump into Micah. How are we doing on ads? Is that ad coming? That pesky ad going to be showing up soon? Those pesky ads, which they're in there. They're in there. Ads in 10. Okay. You mean 10 minutes, not 10 seconds, I hope. Nope. Ads in 10 seconds. Okay. Yeah, I was waiting to double check before I jumped into something. All right. Fish it is.
Flat cap past the rocks is tweet.
Anyway, what I was going to say is the ads are in there so that I get up and stretch when I, am here sitting all day. I tend not to do that.
From here. Dapper man with sax in hand plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song.
More biddies! More biddies!
Pastor shows the way.
You're having fun with the biddies today.
Live come Monday. With his cam, he shows it all.
All right. Ads are over. Yep, you're having some little bitty fun. Little bitty fun. That one is warmer than the other one. Trying to use this one more often so that, I get used to it. It's got a push button on here to release it, and I don't really like that so much. Okay, so we're in Micah, and Micah is one of the prophets. So I don't know timeline. Like, what I would love to have done, is get a nice timeline like this, like I have for the kings, and put the prophets all in a timeline of order of where they were at and how they overlapped with the different kings of Israel. I would love a chart like that. I do not have one. So, anyway, this is the Lord's message that came to Micah of Moresheth. Well, that sounds like Mordor. Moresheth. During the time of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, which he saw concerning Samaria and Jerusalem. So, we are going back to Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. So, the northern kingdom still exists during the time of Micah. So, he's before Manasseh. Okay. Micah 1. What does Micah mean? It's got "ah" on the name. You'd think I know how to spell this. Yeah, it is that way. My brain just wants to, no, it can't be that. Okay. It is spelled that way. And I want to know what Moresheth. Word of the Lord came to Micah. So this is the normal way in which an introduction to a prophet happens. The word of the Lord came to them. The word of the Lord came to them. So Micah or Miki, what? Micah?
Strong's H4318. Micha.
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 Who is like God? Who is like God? No one. That'd be my answer. No one is like God. And Morashti.
Strong's H4183. Moreshti.
I like when I get them right.
Moreshti. Gesenius Lexicon. Moresheth Gath. Moresheth Gath.
Okay. So Moreshti and Moresheth Gath. So it's possession of Gath. So without Gath, it would just be possession. So inhabitant of Moreshite is a Moreshti. So possession. He said with a yes, yes. Micah, Moreshti. Okay, so anyway, so the Gath region, we get a town in the Gath region, so over by the Philistines, where Goliath was from. Okay. Listen, all you nations, pay attention, all you inhabitants of the earth. The sovereign Lord will act as a witness against you. The Lord will accuse you from his majestic palace. Look, the Lord is coming out of his dwelling place. He will descend and march on earth's mountaintops. Ooh, it's a footnote on the mountaintops. High places. Ooh, okay. Yep. High places is where worship is happening, where you put up worship places in the high places, because mountains and gardens are where gods dwell on earth. So you worship on mountaintops. So he's going to descend on all the places where the not gods are being worshipped. The mountains will crumble beneath him, and the valleys will be split apart, like wax before fire, like water dumped down a steep slope. All this is because of Jacob's rebellion and the sin of the nation of Israel. And just what is Jacob's rebellion, you ask? Isn't it Samaria's doing? And what is Judah's sin? Isn't it Jerusalem's doing? I will turn Samaria into a heap of ruins in an open field, into a place for planting vineyards. I will dump the rubble of her walls down into the valley and lay bare her foundations. All her carved idols will be smashed to pieces. All her metal cult statues will be destroyed by fire. I will make a waste heap of all her images, since she gathered the metal as a prostitute collects her wages. The idols will become a prostitute's wage again. For from a prostitute's wages she gathered, and the prostitute's wages she will return. I like that better. Like, from ashes you are, till ashes you shall return. Please explain Jacob's rebellion part. Oh, okay. When the metal was first collected, it was compared to as coins for a prostitute received of her services. The metal was then transformed to an idol, but now the Lord's furious judgment will reduce the metal images to their original condition. So it's the cycle. Like, you had metal that you refined into coins. It was paid for prostitution. You took the coins, made them into an idol, which was your act of prostitution. Now you're being destroyed. That idol made of gold will be returned to, or, if you will, just hunks of metal unformed. Okay, but we'll go back to Jacob's rebellion. Okay. Jacob is sometimes replacing Israel in the northern kingdom, because Jacob was the name, Israel is the name. So it's isn't it Samaria's doing? Let me just see if there's a footnote. Yeah, Samaria is the capital city of the northern kingdom. So it's a rhetorical question that says, Jacob rebelled. Israel rebelled against God. They aren't following God. I mean, the northern kingdom has been evil the whole time. It's always been evil. And so Micah is proclaiming the destruction that is coming on Israel, the northern kingdom, on Samaria, the northern kingdom. Samaria would have been the place where worship was happening, the cultic place of false worship in the northern kingdom. That's a rebellion against God. So what Samaria is doing, they're the ones doing the rebellion. They're the ones turning the people against God. That's the northern kingdom. So these two lines are the northern. These two lines are the southern. Judah, you're also sinning. And it's Jerusalem's doing. It happens there because Judah has high places as well as the northern kingdom, and we're just reading a bunch of that. So that's what that is. It's just poetically describing the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom have both messed up. Hey, Iran, you're sinning, and you're going to get destroyed. Oh, no worries, no worries. Good question, because also prostitutes' wages. So the prostitution is going after another god. Prostitution has to be with unfaithfulness. The act of prostitution is going and being with someone that is not yours. So if God is your God, worship of another god is prostitution. So that's and also Israel is talked about as God's own bride. I mean, you get the metaphors that overlap. Sometimes Israel is son, sometimes Israel is bride. And so being the bride, being the one in relationship with God, they are the ones, and Hosea does this as well, that images that out of Israel going after foreign gods, of going after prostituting themselves, serving other gods. Here, that's the language God likes to use, or the prophets like to use, for following false gods, is prostituting yourself to them. For this reason, I will mourn and wail. I will walk around barefoot, and without my outer garments. I will howl like a wild dog and screech like an owl. Okay, for this reason, I. Who is the I? The prophet is probably the speaker here. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was Micah talking about what he's going to do. One of the things the prophets often do, they publicly display their message. So when it talks about the prophet laying on their side for so long, people notice that. They pay attention to it. So if the prophet is walking around barefoot and without an outer garment, like he's got his skibbies on, his underwear, undergarment, that's it. He's walking around not concerned with the condition of what he's like. This would be a slave who doesn't have anything to provide for themselves. He's going to walk around in that condition. Mom, boss lady, morning, watching. And pastor, yes, thank you. Last sweet. Yes, thank you, madam. Okay. So we're in Micah. Anybody that just joined, that's what I was thinking I need to do. I need to go change my title. It says Micah now. Okay, so we start Micah. So, not that it matters, whatever. Disco Bear. Welcome in. Anybody coming in new? If you read the chat or read the title, it said we were doing Second Chronicles. We finished Second Chronicles, and we are now. All of a sudden, I panicked. I thought, oh no, I have a meeting at 10. No, I don't. That was yesterday. Just double checking my calendar. Yeah, I don't have anything till 1. Like, oh no. Hey, North, Pasta North. Welcome in. Good morning, kids. Serious? I get a kids from you, my friend? Good to have you here, friend. We're in Micah. That's all. Just changing the title on the stream. Okay. And so the prophet is going to be walking around, howling and screeching, acting like a wild dog. Sorry I missed this morning in Miss Marina stream. Was awake about 4:45 to 5 o'clock. Next thing you knew, it was 6:55. Well, maybe you needed some extra sleep. Sometimes that happens. For Samaria's disease is incurable. It has infected Judah. It has spread to the leadership of my people and even to Jerusalem. So this is a spiritual assessment of what's happened. The northern kingdom is evil, evil, all the time, evil, only evil. And it's like a disease. And because of the intermarriage of stuff that happened and the collaboration which happened, it's infected the southern kingdom. Oh, my days. Okay. Don't spread the news in Gath. Don't shed even a single tear. In Beth Lephrah, roll about in mourning in dust. Residents of Shafir, pass by in nakedness and humiliation. Pleasant. So residents of Pleasant pass by in nakedness and humiliation. That would not be pleasant. That would not be pleasant. Yeah, you don't feel up to par? Sorry to hear that. I'm doing good today. Old man dance. Oh, okay. Yes, I don't have an old man dance. Thanks, I'm watching. I forgot. Sometimes you use acronyms in different places, and I watch other streamers that say, oh my days, and so that's what my brain went to. So the residents, those people living in Pleasantville, are going to walk by naked in humiliation. Not a pleasant thing to do. Not a pleasant thing to do. The residents of Zaanan, have not escaped. Beth Ezel mourns. Ooh, what's Beth Ezel? The place Beth Ezel means house of nearness or house of proximity. So whoever's near them. Whoever's near them. Oh, my dear. Oh, okay. He takes from what he desires. Indeed, the residents of Maroth hope for something good to happen. Where is Maroth? Maroth sounds a Hebrew word for bitter. So, like Maroth, the people of bitterness. So we have the people of Pleasant can't escape, and the residents of bitterness are looking for some hope so they can have happiness. See why names are important. He's playing with the names. Like you think you live in pleasantness, you're gonna get it. You're not gonna escape. You live in bitterness. There's no hope. There's nothing good to hope for. Though the Lord has sent disaster against the city of Jerusalem, residents of Lachish hitch their horses to the chariots. The place named Lachish sounds like team of horses. So a little bit like the wordplay that Hebrew does is so much fun. So much fun. You influence daughter Zion to sin, for Israel's rebellious deeds can be traced back to you. Here Israel is used towards the southern kingdom. Therefore, you will have to say farewell to Moreshgoth. The residents of Achzib will be disappointing as a dried up well to the kings of Israel. The place of the dried up river created a wordplay on the similar of lie deception. Like the dried up river upon which the name was based, the city Achzib would fail to help the kings of Israel in their time of need. Oh man, I missed. Oh, bummer. Yeah, we had some fun lyric stuff. Yep. Yeah, I got the bummer, not bum it. I like bum it. What? Oh, it is bummer. Yeah. Okay, so dried up well. The residents of Marashah, a conqueror, will attack you. So, residents of Conqueror, a conqueror will attack you. Why can't I see the good hair? Can't do a redeem? It should be there. Is it not there? So, residents of Conqueror, a conqueror will attack you. No, I don't know why not. Well, I guess I'll have to make sure it's fixed for next week. The leaders of Israel shall flee to Adullam. Oh, Lucis was able to do it. I thought it was there. I have it limited. You can't just do it indefinitely. Like, it's just a couple of times. Okay, so Adullam. The glory of Israel will go. This probably means that the nation's leaders will run for their lives. So Israel shall flee. The glory of Israel will go. Okay. So, like, Micah is playing with the name meanings of all of these. So this would be like, if you know that Philadelphia means brotherly love, like this would be like talking about in regards to brotherly love, where brother will kill brother in the city of brotherly love. You're like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Something's wrong if in the city of brotherly love, brother kills brother. And yeah, I know that happens, but I'm just saying if the scale was multiplied and those kinds of things, this is the kind of wordplay Hebrew's doing here. Look at those luscious locks. I need Fabio head toss. Yeah, my hair doesn't, it's not long enough to do that. It's not long enough to do that. Okay, so all these places, whatever the action next to it is probably close. Shave your head bald as you mourn for the children you love. Shave your foreheads as bald as an eagle, for they are taken from you into exile. The children, I think that is. Beware wicked schemers, those who devise calamity as they lie in bed. Proverbs talk about this, those who lie in bed planning things. Yes. As soon as morning... Your eyes are wet. As soon as morning dawns, they carry out their plans, because they have the power to do so. No fair, you have more hair towards your forehead than I do. Oh, have a huge receding hairline, and I'm female. Well, actually, my wife will probably... she has thinner hair than I do. Her grandmother went bald. She has a good chance of being really thin with her hair. No, I got, you know, I got a big forehead. I don't have a 5 head, but I have a big forehead. They confiscate the fields they desire and seize the houses they want. They defraud people of their homes and deprive people of the land they have inherited. Okay, I'm just trying to look at who are the kings in the northern kingdom right now. Okay, so Ahab was a long time ago. Okay, that's what I was looking to see when Ahab was. Ahab was when Jehoshaphat was in like 874, and we're somewhere in the 740 to 720s, maybe. So, yeah, quite some time ago. But those are describing the acts of Ahab. What Ahab did. Depriving people of defrauding people, lying to them, stealing inheritance. That's all what's happening. Cute 5 head. Well, mine is close to a 7 head. Okay, so depriving people of the inheritance. Therefore, so okay, again, I think this is talking about the kings, the leaders of the kingdoms. They are taking these actions. People with power are taking these actions. People who are in the place of judging over the people, they are the ones who are conspiring to exploit people and take advantage of people, increase their power. That's the thing God is judging them for. Therefore, the Lord says, look, I am devising disaster for this nation. It will be like a yoke from which you cannot free your neck. You will no longer walk proudly, for it will be a time of catastrophe. In that day, people will sing this taunt song to you. They will mock you with this lament. We are completely destroyed. They sell off the property of my people. How they remove it from me. They assign our fields to the conqueror. Yeah, it was a horrible song, wasn't it? I was trying to taunt and mock and sing, and I probably failed. Probably just failed miserably. All right, the hat. The hat is back. Don't preach with such impassioned rhetoric, they say excitedly. These prophets should not preach of such things. We will not be overtaken by humiliation. If one follows the Masoretic text as it sounds, it would appear that the Lord here condemns the people for their foaming at the mouth, and they announce the judgment is inevitable. The present translation assumes that this is the continuation of the quotation of what the people say. In this case, the subject of the foaming of the mouth is the Lord's prophet. In the second line, the nifl imperfect to remove is embedded in the hifl imperfect, the nasag to reach, to overtake. Okay. Yes, the hare is in exile again. I like that. Yes, well, no. See, we're gonna go with the hare is in the temple. The hare resides in the temple. It is the dwelling place of the hare. It resides in the temple. There we go. Okay, so that's interesting. So it is either the prophets are foaming at the mouth or the people are foaming at the mouth. Not sure which. Does the family of Jacob say the Lord's patient can be exhausted? He will never do such a thing. Okay, this is one of the things the southern kingdom thinks. Because they had the temple, because they were in the land, they thought they would never be taken over. We were just reading through that. Chronicles was an indictment of that fact. But the prophets will bear that out too. That the people think they can't be taken because they've got God's temple. God dwells here. What can he do? No, we got the temple. That's a faulty thinking. To be sure, my commands bring a reward for those who obey them. But you rise up as an enemy against my people. You steal a robe from a friend, from those who pass by peacefully, as if, as if returning from war. So you treat your own people like they are a conquest. You wrongly evict widows among my people from their cherished homes. You defraud their children of their prized inheritance. Okay, I'm just going to point out the accusations here are exploitation of the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the foreigner. Woe to any country who does not pay attention to these actions that God took. Look at your selfies channel. Okay. Woe to any nation who doesn't pay attention to. You are exploiting the people. You are overpowering the people. You are stealing robes from your friends. You allow this exploitation of others to take place. I don't care what country you are. God will hear and does hear the cry of the oppressed. Hear the cry of the oppressed. But you are the ones who will be forced to leave. For this land is not secure. Sin will thoroughly destroy it. If a lying windbag should come and say, I'll promise you blessings of wine and beer, he would be just the right preacher for these people. Oh, I need that on a t-shirt. Would that not be fun? If a lying windbag would come and say, I promise you blessings of wine and beer, it would be the right preacher for these people. Would that not be fun? I think that would be fun. I will certainly gather all of you, O Jacob. And I think Jacob's still in place of Israel, still more focused on the northern kingdom at this time, but we did have a mention of the southern, so we'll see if it comes back to them separately, or maybe Jacob is used because Jacob, instead of the kingdom of Israel, Jacob is now representing the total of all the descendants of Jacob. Not sure. Let's keep reading. I will certainly assemble those Israelites who remain. I will bring them together like sheep in a fold, like a flock in the middle of a pasture. They will be so numerous that they will make a lot of noise. The one who can break through barriers will lead them out. They will break out, pass through the gate, and leave. The king will advance before them. The Lord himself will lead them. Ooh. Okay, let me back up there. So this is a promise that afterwards there's restoration. So the remnant will be gathered. Okay, just clarifying that. And God will lead them. I said, listen, you leaders of Jacob, you rulers of the nations of Israel. Okay, BRB. You ought to know what is just. Yet you hate what is good. You love what is evil. You flay my people's skins and rip the flesh from their bones. Metaphorically. Hopefully not literally. You devour my people's flesh. You strip off their skin and crush their bones. You chop them up like flesh in a pot, like meat in a kettle. Someday these sinful leaders will cry to the Lord for help, but he will not answer them. He will hide his face from them at that time because they have done such wicked deeds. This is what the Lord has said about the prophets who mislead his people. If someone gives them enough to eat, they offer an oracle of peace. But if someone does not give them food, they are ready to declare war on him. So you can buy whatever oracle you want from the prophets. Therefore, night will fall and you will receive no vision. So God's going to shut off the visions. I will grow dark and you will no longer be able to read omens. The sun will set on these prophets, and the daylight will turn to darkness over their heads. The prophets will be ashamed. The omen readers will be humiliated. All of them will cover their mouths, for they will receive no divine oracles. Even Balaam could get an oracle from God, the true God. He had to say what was real. He could not say otherwise. Here we have false prophets making false oracles, and he's just going to dry up all the oracles that they have. But I am full of the courage of the Lord's Spirit. Again, I think this is the prophet speaking. And have a strong commitment to justice. This enables me to confront Jacob with its rebellion and Israel with its sin. So Jacob and Israel. Okay. Either it's metaphorically replying back to the two by doubling, or it's both kingdoms. I could go either way. This, like, if you think about how when you're in trouble, often adults will say your middle name, like saying, I'm going to confront Jacob and Israel, you're in rebellion. It's like saying the two names kind of a thing. Is the same way, I think, of kind of saying first name, middle name, when you're upset with your kids and when you're in serious trouble. Listen to this, you leaders of the family of Jacob, you rulers of the nation of Israel. You hate justice and pervert all that is right. You build Zion through bloody crimes, Jerusalem through unjust violence. Her leaders take bribes when they decide legal cases. Her priests proclaim rulings for profit. Her prophets read omens for pay. Yet they claim to trust the Lord and say, the Lord is among us. Disaster will not overtake us. Therefore, because of you, Zion will be plowed up like a field. Jerusalem will become a heap of ruins, and the Temple Mount will become a hill overgrown with brush. So, yeah, might be doing both of them. Sometimes it seems like it's Northern Kingdom, sometimes it's including both, but it's all God's people. All of them are doing wrong. And in the future days, the Lord's Temple Mount will be the most important mountain of all. It will be more prominent than other hills. Ooh, other hills. Okay, so the other hills are where other gods are worshipped, but also my brain just went to, Rome and the Seven Hills. People will stream to it. Many nations will come saying, oh, come, let us go to the Lord's mountain, to the temple of Jacob's God, so he can teach us his ways. And we will live by his law, for instruction will proceed from Zion, the Lord's message from Jerusalem. He will arbitrate between many peoples and settle disputes between many distant nations. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nations will not use weapons against other nations. They will no longer train for war. Okay. Do we have to understand this literally? Do we have to understand this has to literally be beating their swords into plowshares? Well, on one hand, unless this has already happened, and then I don't know of it historically happening, where they took swords and they made plowshares out of them. We don't use swords today. So it's metaphorical about putting aside weapons of war and doing things that are for the production of crops and all of that. So from that perspective, don't have to have it literal to go on. Let me see what she said, Mom Bus Lady. Oh, when I got called by my full name, I was already crying before I came out of your bedroom because I just knew I was going to get switched on your bare legs. Also had to wear a dress every single day growing up. Oh, you got switched on your bare legs, not on your bottom? Oh, that's interesting. I'm not familiar with the getting switched on the bare legs. But, okay, so he's going to arbitrate between many people of distant lands. So what I want to understand, what would the original audience have thought of this? So I think this is talking about after exile, the restoration is going to happen. And I could make a case, I think, that when King Cyrus is restoring the people and paying for the temple's rebuilding, you could see that as this was the case because the people aren't going to battle. They're coming to worship God, and it's foreign nations who are funding the restoration of the temple. And then what happens following it? So I could say that's a fulfillment of this. The people could have understood. But if you're looking for the absolute literal, I'm not using a sword today. Farmers I use aren't militaries I know aren't using sword. Yeah, you might have some that decoratively have a sword or a bayonet that would go on, and you could say that. I just think it could have a fulfillment already, where we'd be looking for a future fulfillment of the totality of the ending of war when Jesus reigns. So I do think we can see a past fulfillment already having taken place, and there's still a future. Mom Boss Lady. Oh, Mom would make sure she got a good switch and wouldn't break when she'd get us kids. So my bare legs got switched very hard and good. Yeah, I just was saying I didn't know of the leg switching versus the bottom. Yep, and I've had the good switch. Often it was the belt, but yeah, sometimes it was a switch. Those can welt pretty good. I'm not in favor of that today. It's funny. Some people will advocate for never use your hand to, to strike your child if you're going to use physical discipline. And we can debate the physical or not. And yes, there's abuse, and I am not in favor of anything that's abusive. But if I use a switch or a belt or something in my hand, I never feel the impact that I made on my child. Don't. If I use my hand and my hand is stinging, I've done something too much. So yeah, a swat on the bottom, just a little bit of a, hey, like a slap on the face, like, whoa, wake up kind of thing. Not abusive, not beating you up, not making a fist, just a slap, like a little shock to the body. Yeah, there's a little sting. Okay, you leave welts, I think you went too far. Where in between is the line? I'm not sure. So, belt, switches, anything Mom knew that would leave a mark and feel for a few days. Yeah, I had one occasion where my mom, I don't know what I did. I don't remember what I did. But my mom grabbed the yardstick. She grabbed the yardstick to swat me, and it broke. And I laughed because it broke. And so then she grabbed the wooden spoon and hit me so hard that it broke. And then I'm busting out laughing. And I don't remember what else she grabbed, but I think she broke 2 or 3 items minimum and had to grab 4 or 5 items to swat my bottom. and I was laughing and crying at the same time. So yeah, don't do that to your kids. Don't do that to your kids. Okay. So back to the punishment of the people, because this is related. Yes. Each will sit under his own grapevine, under his own fig tree, without fear. So restoration to peace. That's the imagery we have here. We have imagery of peace will return to the land. Don't think we need literal, just we have an imagery of peace. The Lord of heaven's army has decreed it. Though all the nations follow their respective gods, we will follow the Lord our God forever. Walk each in the name of his God. Yes, okay. The idea of authority, walking in the authority of their God. In that day, says the Lord, I will gather the lame and assemble the outcast whom I injured. I will transform the lame into the nucleus of a new nation. That's an interesting translation. And those far off into a mighty nation. The Lord will reign over them on Mount Zion from the day forward and forevermore. As for you, watchtower for the flock, fortress of daughter Zion, your former dominion will be restored, the sovereignty that belongs to daughter Jerusalem. Jerusalem, why are you not shouting so loudly? Oh, say, why are you now shouting so loudly? Has your king disappeared? Has your wise leader been destroyed? Is this why pain grips you as if, as if you were a woman in labor? Twist and strain, daughter Zion, as if, as if you were in labor. For you will leave the city and live in the open field. You will go to Babylon. Okay, wait. So this is Babylon being declared before Manasseh. Before evil Manasseh, Babylon is being declared. But there you will be rescued. There the Lord will deliver you from the power of your enemies. Many nations have now assembled against you. They say, Jerusalem must be desecrated so that we can gloat over Zion. But they do not know the Lord is planning. They do not understand his strategy. This is interesting because we had King Necho say, God told me to come do this. You ain't going to win. You need to just stay away. Oh, you died. Sucks to suck. Sorry about that, but you know what? Told you, warned you. He has gathered them like stalks of grain to be threshed at the threshing floor. Get up and thresh, daughter Zion, for I will give you iron horns. I will give you bronze hooves, and you will crush many nations. You will devote to the Lord the spoils you take from them and dedicate their wealth to the sovereign ruler of the whole earth. Okay, horns represent power. I will make your horn iron. Iron would be strong. So power, horns, kings. So you're going to have powerful, strong kings. Bronze hooves. Hooves would be your military might, and you're going to crush the nation. So we have you're getting your comeuppance. You done messed up, Aaron. You're going to go away to exile. You're going to be crushed. There will be a remnant. There'll be a return. There's going to be restoration. The temple will be restored after it's been destroyed. You'll return, and there we go. And then we have, when you see this, it's just a variant between the Hebrew chapter marking and the English. But now, splash yourself, daughter, surrounded by soldiers. We are besieged. Oh, sorry, slash yourself, not splash yourself. Slash yourself. So you take your own life. With a scepter, they strike Israel's ruler with the side of the face. Unless this is slashing the body, was a form of mourning. Can be trying to slash yourself or gather in troops. Translated based on the latter meaning. So gather in troops surrounded by soldiers or slash yourself. Also, you have the slashing of yourself is also a thing that would call your gods to act. So if it's poking fun of You're going into exile. Slash yourself for those gods. Call those gods to action on your behalf. You're surrounded by soldiers. You're besieged. So call on your gods. Could be a taunt in that way too, I think. As for you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, seemingly insignificant among the clans of Judah, from you a king will emerge who will rule over Israel on my behalf. Remind you of Elijah? Yeah. Oh, the prophets all talk in similar fashion and manner of the description of things, the metaphorical language, the certainty of actions. Yeah. Yep. One whose origin are in distant past. So the Lord will hand the people of Israel over to their enemies. Okay. What?
Dear Bonin just followed.
Dear Bonin, thank you. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome in. We are in Micah. We're in Micah right now. Okay. So Bethlehem Ephrathah. This is where we get our New Testament quoting of the birth of Jesus coming out of there. He's the king who will emerge. But on a non-literal sense, there's the Fabio hair. Okay. On a non-literal sense, David is the one from Bethlehem. So all this has to mean for fulfillment is one who's like David. That's all it has to mean, is one who will be like David. So, do I think Jesus fulfilled it? Yes. Do I think there could have been a fulfillment prior to Jesus, and a partial fulfillment of someone who was a king like David when a king got restored? Or maybe we could even go and look at like David being a warrior and the Maccabees revolt and the victory there of restoration. We could look at it that way too. And I think that's how the people would have seen it. So don't just automatically, when you see Old Testament things that we know the New Testament says are fulfilled in Jesus, that there wasn't a previous fulfillment that the people would have been expecting and saw in their lifetime or the generations that followed before Jesus. So the Lord will hand the people of Israel over to its enemies until the time when the woman in labor gives birth. Then the rest of the king's countrymen will return to be reunited with the people of Israel. Fellow Judahites, while the people of Israel are the northern tribe. Yes. So the countrymen here are the southern kingdom. The people of Israel are the northern kingdom. So we just read through Josiah, the incorporation of the people from the northern kingdoms into following God. Sorry, throat feeling a little scratchy. I'm going to grab a cough drop here a second. He will assume his post and shepherd the people by the Lord's strength, by the sovereign authority of the Lord his God. They will live securely, for at that time he will be honored, even in the distant regions of the earth. He will give us peace. Should the Assyrians try to invade our land and attempt to set foot in our fortress, we will send against them 7 shepherd rulers. Okay, so the number 7 and then 8 here symbolizes completeness and emphasize that Israel will have more than enough. Yeah. So we're going to send 7 shepherd rulers. They're just shepherds, but they're identifying they're the rulers. The shepherding of the flock, David being the shepherd, he is one who will shepherd the flock, just like David did. That's why I think we have Bethlehem reference there. I don't think we have to have a literally born in to be a one like David. You are like David because David came out of Bethlehem. That was the least of it. Remember how that happened. So when they have rulers who raise up and deliver them from Assyria and protect them, we will have 7. We'll totally have all the rulers necessary, and 8 will have more than enough. So when you see 7 and then 8, 8 is more than enough. 7 is total completeness. They will rule the land of Assyria with the sword. The land of Nimrod will draw sword. Our king will rescue us from Assyria should they attempt to invade our land and try to set foot in our territory. Oh, I thought before he was turning the plowshares into pruning hooks. Again, I think it's metaphorical language. Not that it's the end of all war and the peace that we're thinking about going forward with Jesus, but in their day, when they return from the land, they will be restored. That's what I think we have here. Restoration language of the people being in security in the land and having abundance. Those survivors from Jacob will live in the midst of many nations. They will be like the dew of the Lord's sends, like the rain on the grass that does not hope for men to come or wait around for men to arrive. So yeah, if you've got rain and grass, you're not looking for men to water it. I think that's what the image there is. And they're going to be surrounded like many nations, which is true when they come back from exile. All of this is fulfilled when they return from exile, in my opinion. Yes, it can have future fulfillments in Jesus. Can it still have future fulfillments from our day? Yes. I don't look at things as singular fulfillment only. If so, then I would say it's not been fulfilled in any capacity, because it hasn't been fully fulfilled, because I still see weapons of war on the planet. Okay. The survivors from Jacob will live among the nations in the midst of many peoples. They will be like a lion among the animals of the forest, like the young lion among the flocks of the sheep, which attack when it passes through. It rips its prey, and there is no one to stop it. So, the survivors of Jacob will live among the nations. Is that not true during Jesus' time? That they're scattered, and you have Pentecost, which happens, and they're going out to all the nations. And then, you could even go to today, the survivors of Jacob. We would go with Abraham. Just being a descendant of Abraham is being a follower of Jesus, being a descendant of Abraham, not by blood, but by the circumcision of the heart. I am a child of Abraham, descendant of Jacob. There we go. We could tie that all in. But I think literally when they come back from exile, some stay in the land. Some are in the northern. Some have been scattered around. Can weapons of war be human malice, words and actions, or lack thereof? Oh, totally. Totally. I mean, if you think about countries with totalitarian dictators, like North Korea, the weapons of war against the people are the teaching of who the ruler is and worshiping the supreme ruler and all of those things, the words and actions of having to have parades and all those things. Like I'm just picking on them, but yeah, those are also human malice, words, actions, all things towards the supreme ruler, the supreme leader. Yeah, absolutely. And we can have that to one another too, but just thinking in war terms, we can have that. We can also have that in our advertising and other things that we have, convincing us of things we should do, not do. Yeah, there's lots of ways we do that. Yeah, individuals and whole lands. That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, I was using the weapons of war from the perspective of kingdoms, but yes, individually. Oh, totally. Our words are weapons. I mean, James talks about the sword is the tongue is sharper than any two-edged sword. I can cut people down, and I like that we describe it that way. I cut people down with my tongue, or I can build them up. And I believe I can't remember if it's 5-1 or 10-1. Can't remember if it's 5 or 10. So for every one negative thing you hear, it's either 5 or 10 that you need to hear positive to outweigh the one negative thing. You need that many more to overcome it. So yeah, we have that kind of power in the tongue. And who can tame it? Who can bridle the tongue? Okay, so anyway, I was pointing out they're living among the nations in the midst of many peoples. So they're not all returning to the land. The promise isn't to all return to the land. It's like, no. You were supposed to be a light, and you're supposed to be here, and you did not do that. You're gonna stay dispersed. Diaspora is going to be the part of the new plan in a furtherance. Instead of you bringing people and drawing them to yourself, you are going to be dispersed. Lift your hand triumphantly against your adversaries. May all your enemies be destroyed. In that day, says the Lord, I will destroy your horses from your midst and smash your chariots. I will destroy the cities of your land and tear down all your fortresses. I will remove the sorcery that you practice, and you will no longer have omen readers living among you. So, again, like we keep bopping back and forth between the horror that's coming and the promise of hope, the horror that's coming and the remnant possibility that you won't see, but your descendants will have a chance to. I will remove your idols and sacred pillars from your midst. You will no longer worship what your own hands made. I will uproot your images of Asherah from your midst and destroy your idols with furious anger. I will carry out vengeance on the nations that do not obey me. I'm going to carry out on the nations that don't obey me. That would be the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Oh, and every other kingdom. Listen to what the Lord says. Get up, defend yourself before the mountains. Present your case before the hills. Hear the Lord's accusation, you mountains, you enduring foundation of the earth, for the Lord has a case against his people. He has a dispute with Israel. So, you want to call on witnesses that have always been here to see how evil your people have been? The mountains been there. Let's call on the mountains. The mountains could also represent the spirit beings which are worshipped on those mountains that are not God. Let's call on them as witnesses. Let's see which way it's going. Could be creation. Could be the people, the entities which are worshipped in those places. My people, how have I wronged you? Here's the inquisition against you. How have I wearied you? Answer me. In fact, I brought you up out of the land of Egypt. I delivered you from the place of slavery. I sent Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to lead you. My people, recall how King Balak of Moab planned to harm you, how Balaam, son of Beor, responded to him. Recall how you journeyed from Shittim to Gilgal, so you might acknowledge that the Lord has treated you fairly. So I love this. Every time we're going to recount what God has done. I brought you out of Egypt. Like it's the thing that you can never deny that God did for you. You're not in Egypt. You're not slaves. Why didn't you take advantage of that? Why didn't you worship God forever because of that single thing that he did? If he never did another thing, wouldn't that be enough to always worship God? He brought you out of land of slavery. Your descendants are not slaves. Your kids aren't going to be slaves. Your parents weren't slaves. You've come up out of there. Oh, people, come on. With what shall I enter the Lord's presence? With what should I bow before the sovereign God? Should I enter his presence with burnt offerings, with year-old calves? Will the Lord accept 1,000 rams or 10,000 streams of olive oil? Should I give him my firstborn child as a payment for my rebellion, my offspring, my own flesh and blood for my sin? He has told you, oh man, what is good and what the Lord really wants from you. Oh, I love this. He wants you to carry out justice, to love faithfulness, and to live obediently before your God. So this is what God accepts. This is acceptable. Carrying out justice, they're not having justice. To love faithfulness, they are not faithful. Oh, that's Hesed. That is Hesed. And to live obediently, that is your walk. Your humble walk is in submission to God, following after God. The other part was loving your neighbor as yourself. So you have what Jesus says we're supposed to do. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. You want to hear it another way? What is that God accepts? To carry out justice, to love faithfulness, and live obediently before your God. Listen, the Lord is calling to the city. It is wise to respect your authority, O Lord. Listen, O nation, and those assembled in the city. I will not overlook, O sinful house, the dishonest gain you have hoarded away, or the smaller than standard measure. I hate that also. Okay, so this is how they're being dishonest. The ill-gotten treasure. Like, I think there's a place where it talks, yeah. It's this scant measurement. So this is not on a scale, but like if this was the thing that I put on the scale and it's like, this was exactly this much weight and you have something on the other, that's how you'd measure it out. But, oh, what if I slipped a little extra weight on the bottom of this that you didn't get to see and I put it on the scale? I'm hiding extra weight, so I get a little extra more out of that. Now you go, oh, well, people won't do that. They can't do that. Well, let me tell you this. When I was back in wrestling and we had the scales, and you had we had a thing that was like this, made out of metal. It would slide on there, had a certain weight, and then you would slide the other to be more precise on the smaller weights. There were several people I knew that occasionally would slip a quarter or a nickel or some other small coin underneath the bottom weight so that the scale would be heavy and allow them to make weight when they really honestly did not make weight. So yeah, people do those kinds of things. Here, it was rigged. So yeah, and the next one goes even further. I do not condone the use of rigged scales or a bag of deceptive weights. The city's wealthy people readily resort to violence. Her inhabitants tell lies. Their tongues speak deceptive words. This is like, let me just give you a full ad sneaking in. I wish I could have postponed that one. Sorry, friends.
Flat cat pastor rocks his tweed, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from here. Dapper man with sax in hand plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat cat pastor shows the way, stream it live come what may. With his cam he shows it all, little fish both big and small. Life in pond so serene, nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow, hear the music, gentle glow. Flat cap's charm and calming tone makes the fish feel right at home. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his
All right,
song.
sorry, I was checking something. All of a sudden, went, wait. I think I have a meeting. I do at 11 o'clock. So I was all of a sudden going, oh, wait. I thought I had something. I didn't see it on my calendar, but it was there. So, anyway, I think we should still finish this. We got 2 chapters. We're doing good. So, essentially what we're getting is, you think you're doing fine? Let me just tell you all the sins that you've got. You've got the city's wealthy people readily resort to violence. Like, they're the ones with power. They're the ones with wealth. They're the ones using violence. And then all the people are telling lies. Their tongues speak deceptive words. They strike with brutality. They destroy you because of your sin. You will eat but not be satisfied. Even if, even if you have the strength to overcome some prey, you will not be able to carry it away. If you do not. If you do happen to carry away something, I will deliver it over to the sword. So, like, if you think you're doing good, like, it doesn't mean you've escaped. I got another thing coming. You will plant crops, but you will not harvest them. You will seize oil from olives, but you will not, you will have no oil to rub on your bodies. Okay, so what's really interesting here, I think, we're having the reversal. Of going into land. When you go into land, you will eat crops that you did not plant. Here you will plant crops and you will not harvest. You're getting the reversal. You're the ones doing the effort. You'll get no reward. When you came in, you got all the reward. You did no effort. Obedience got you all the reward. You didn't have to do anything but follow and serve God. Now you're doing effort. You're going to get no reward from it. You will squeeze juice from the grapes, but you will have no wine to drink. Your fellow Omri's edict. The edicts of Omri are kept. Okay, where is Omri? Okay, so Omri is way back in the northern kingdom. Before Ahab. Before Ahab. And all the practices of Ahab's dynasty. You follow their practices. Therefore, I will make you an appalling sight. The city's inhabitants will be taunted derisively, and the nations will mock all of you. Woe is me, for I am like those gathering fruit and those harvesting grapes. When there is no grape cluster to eat and no fresh figs that my stomach craves, faithful men will have disappeared from the land. There are no godly men left. They all wait in ambush to shed blood. They hunt their own brothers with a net. They are experts at doing evil. Government officials and judges take bribes. Poignant men announce what they wish, and then they plan it out. The best of them is like a thorn. Their gods are like a thorn bush. Woe to you, watchmen! Your appointed punishment is on the way. So the watchmen could be a reference here to the prophets, the false prophets, because they're the ones to watch over the people. It could be literally the people who are in the watchtower. There could be a couple of different ways that could be thought of. The time of their confusion is now. Do not rely on a friend. Do not put trust in a companion. Even with one who lies in your arms, do not share secrets. So this is going to be so bad, you can't trust anyone to not turn you over or to be plotting against you. For a son thinks his father is a fool. A daughter challenges her mother, and a daughter-in-law her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are his own family. But I will keep watching for the Lord. I will wait for God who delivers me. God will listen to me. So even in the midst of what's all going to happen, I'm going to wait on God. I'm going to choose God. God will vindicate. My enemies do not gloat over me. Though I have fallen, I will get up. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. I must endure the Lord's fury, for I have sinned against him. Wait. He's inclusive here. He's inclusive of everyone. Thank you, BRB. But then he will defend my cause and accomplish justice on my behalf. He will lead me out into the light. I will witness his deliverance. When my enemies see this, they will be covered with shame. They say to me, where is the Lord your God? I will gloat over them. Then they will be trampled down like mud in the streets. Funny, we don't have muddy streets or dirt streets anymore. It will be a day for rebuilding your walls. It will be a day for rebuilding, the day your boundary will be extended. So there's you keep putting a remnant of hope in the middle of all the awful that's going to happen. In that day, people will come to you from Assyria as far as Egypt, from Egypt as far as the Euphrates, from the sea coast and the mountains. The earth will become desolate because of what its inhabitants have done. Shepherd your people with your rod, the flock that belongs to you, the one that lives alone in a thicket in the midst of a pasture land. Allow them to graze in Bashan and Gilead, as they did in old days, as in the days when you departed from the land of Egypt. I will show you miraculous deeds. Ooh, miraculous deeds are going to return. I wonder when those might have been done before Jesus, because they certainly were done when he returned. Oh, I guess we could go the Festival of Lights, Hanukkah, that they were done then. Nations will see this and be disappointed by all their strength. They will put their hands over their mouths and act as if, if they were dead. They will lick the dust like a snake. like serpents crawling on the ground. They will come trembling from their strongholds to the Lord our God. They will be terrified of you. Who is a God like you? Who forgives sins and pardons the rebellion of those who remain among his people? Who does not stay angry forever? Who delights in showing loyal love? Who will once again have mercy on us? Who will conquer our evil deeds? Who will hurl all our sins into the depths of the sea? You will be loyal to Jacob and extend your loyal love to Abraham, which you promised on oath to our ancestors in ancient times. So, there we go. There's the end. Like, you done messed up. It's all evil, absolutely evil. You guys keep doing evil. The Northern Kingdom, you're going to be gone. Southern Kingdom, don't think you're going to escape. You're all going to end up going away, but don't fear, never fear. God will have a remnant turn back to him once it happens. There will be restoration. Boom! How you like that? We got through Micah. I'll have to add the other part in here, wherever that goes, which should be the next one. So 5 through 7. And I'll just move that to the next page when we get there. So there we go. Thank you everyone for being here. Several follows, lots of cheers. What a great day. So let's let's raid. And we were going to look and see if one reason is still on. 4-year stream anniversary. So one reason's been on a year longer than me. Pretty cool. So let me give you a blessing, everybody, and send you on your way. May God's seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms bind you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you all for being here, hanging out with me, reading in God's Word. What a fantastic way to start the day. So wherever you go, may you go and bring God's blessings with you.
Dash through pages, chronicles, gospels, prophets, sages, Leviticus, laws to Paul's fine phrases, turning them corners, no spiritual mazes, Genesis to Revelation, self-divine, flipping scripts, endless grace you'll find, Psalm singing sweet unbroken lines, hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Wake up early, the dawn's light shimmers. Spiritual breakfast, soul food dinners. Isaiah's vision, Ezekiel's figures. Walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets profound. Plow in the word, no mythical ground. Verse after verse, wisdom's bound. Heavenly soundtrack, soul's urban sound. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. No